The Detroit Lions against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Live from Tampa Stadium, the Buccaneers and the Lions. This Tampa Stadium will also be the site of Super Bowl 18, which you can see right here on CBS Sports. Our game time temperature, 58 degrees under hot and humid skies. It is a sunny afternoon. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Kelly, former New York Jet. John Dockery alongside. He wears a Super Bowl ring. That's where these two teams, in fact, everyone else in the National Football League would like to get to. As far as the Bucs are concerned, a 4-0 preseason, the only team in the NFL to do so. But for head coach John McKay, more important than that, a big decision at quarterback.
Jim, exactly. A couple of things to remember, of course. Preseason is indeed only preseason. The quarterback, Jerry Goldstein, can he do it? We'll find out. But I think the sharing of responsibility on the offense is the biggest difference on this team. They used to rely on Doug Williams. He's gone now. That's the biggest difference.
And for the Lions, head coach Monty Clark, now in his 6th season with Detroit. It's the calmest camp since he's been with the Lions. And there's good reason. There's a new optimism, some new excitement as well because of their starting fullback, James Jones, the #1 draft pick. In fact, talking about their draft, the top 7 choices have all made the team.
Exactly. Monty Clark is finally giving his image to this team. He wants a hard-working, no-nonsense image. A lot of the faces are gone. James Jones, the #1 draft choice at fullback, the one he's been looking for a long time to go with Billy Sims. Many have compared him to a young Franco Harris. He can block, he can catch, he can run. And the tandem of Billy Sims and James Jones, potentially one of the most exciting in the NFL for many years to come. They're just about ready to kick off, Jim Kelly, so let's do it.
All right, Doc, James Owens, 26, is to the far side of your screen. Michael Morton, #1, is to the near side. And kicking off is Eddie Murray, #3 for the Detroit Lions. The 1983 NFL season on CBS is underway. It goes into the end zone. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at their own 20-yard line. So Eddie Murray, one of the best kickers in the National Football League, booms it long and deep. There's no return, and there's the offense led by, what a Cinderella story, Jerry Goldstein, #11. And the offensive line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kelly Thomas, he's a good one. We'll talk about that. They're very high on him. At tight end, Jerry Bell will start. It is not Jimmy Giles, a late holdout. He signed a week ago Friday, just before the game against the New England Patriots. So Tampa Bay, with Jerry Goldstein at quarterback, starts 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Kevin House to the top of your screen. I-pro set, motion by the tight end Bell. Jerry Goldstein will throw and complete his first pass for a first down. Tampa Bay at the 31-yard line. James Wilder out of the backfield. Bobby Watkins chased him out of bounds. Now, the last time that Jerry Goldstein began a season opener, as you look at the Detroit Lions defense, it was back in 1977 and 78 for the New York Giants. He won both of those games with his Giant teammates. And, of course, the last time he completed a pass in regular season in the NFL, October 21st, 1979. That was when he played with the Detroit Lions against the New Orleans Saints. House wide to the near side. I-pro set again. Second back through. That is Melvin Carver, stacked up at the 32. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. Demetrius Johnson, 21, in there on the tackle.
Exactly what we expected. Jerry Goldstein, without Doug Williams, it's going to be a different offensive team. Less of the big bomb, less of the one-play scoring strike. Goldstein is going to try and use a balanced offense, running the ball, throwing the ball. You saw it right there. He opened up with a pass off play action. He ran the ball on 2nd down.
How about John McKay and the play calling as he's shuttling in his tight ends, opening up with Goldstein and throwing the football. Goldstein will throw again, lots of time, dumps underneath at the 35, incomplete to Melvin Carver, who had looped from the left side out of the backfield, and Gary Cobb, 35, in his 5th year from USC, the left side linebacker, as you look at John McKay.
It's interesting, the problem down here deciding on the quarterback, Jack Thompson, the #1. They gave up a #1 draft choice and a lot of money to get him from Cincinnati. A lot of people thought that that kind of pressure would force John McKay to go with him, but instead he decided on Goldstein. We'll be right back in a moment. We're early in the first quarter. No score. Detroit at Tampa Bay in a difficult division rivalry. Jim Kelly.
In his 9th year out of Arkansas, Dave Revis, number 75, 6'5", and 265, going out. He was down for about a minute and a half, but as you saw, went out under his own power. Gene Sanders, the 5th-year lineman out of Texas A&M now, a defensive lineman in college, takes his place. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, opening possession, 3rd and 9. Slot formation to the left side. House wide to the near side. Carver in the backfield. Goldstein got his tight end out of bounds. That is Theo Bell. First down, Buccaneers.
Showed a lot of poise, Goldstein did. He got a little bit of pressure. Bell was doing a deep route. Watch Goldstein here. Stands in the pocket very well. Blocking breaks down early, gets rid of the ball. Thrown beautifully outside. Bell makes a completion for the first down.
Goldstein now 2 out of 3 in the passing department. In the preseason, Jerry was 66 attempts, 40 completions, 474 yards. He completed 60% of his passes, 3 touchdowns. First and 10, Buccaneers at their own 49. Wide receivers left and right. The pitch back. That is Melvin Carver. Chopped down after he picked up 1 very tough yard. It'll bring up 2nd down and 9. Carver in his 2nd year out of Nevada, Las Vegas. Of course, the Runnin' Rebels, known more for their basketball. Bobby Watkins in his 2nd year from Texas State came up to make the tackle.
And Melvin Carver has had a good preseason. He was tops on the team in rushing and had 170 yards and 4.5. There's Monty Clark in his 6th season. And Monty, as he told us, was very, very relaxed and is excited about this young team. I think this is a very, very important game because they're not sure whether they're going to be a good team, an average team, or a bad team.
2nd and 9 from the midfield stripe. Motion to the near side. Jerry Goldstein's 4th pass of this young season. Lots of time. Passing out of the backfield. Wilder cracks it across the 45 down to the 44 of the Lions. In his 3rd year out of Missouri, a 2nd-round draft pick, Jimmy Williams brought him down, a young linebacker out of Nebraska.
That's an example of the new offense as you look at James Wilder here in Tampa Bay. Goldstein wanted to go to his tight end. He looked to Jerry Bell, number 82, who was hooking about 10 yards down. He was covered. He came to his back, and the completion was good for the 3rd and short yardage.
Goldstein now 3 out of 4, 34 yards. Obradovich, the 9-year veteran out of USC, in there for John McKay as he shovels the play in with his tight end. Slot formation to the left side. 3rd and 3. Goldstein will fire for it. Out of the backfield. Extra effort gets it. James Wilder stopped back at the 39-yard line, busted across the 40, and picked up the first down. The man he got free, Gary Cobb.
You don't hear much about James Wilder as Goldstein goes back to pass again. He went to his secondary receiver. Wilder, an excellent pass receiver last year, had 53 catches for 466 yards. Terrific in preseason also. You don't hear much about him, but he's one of those complete fullbacks who can catch the ball. As you see his stats up there, 8.8 average, 1 touchdown last year in receptions alone. 3
receptions, 25 yards early on this opening drive. I-pro set. Goldstein will throw on first down again. He's got the hot hand over the middle, complete, and then dropped at the 14-yard line. Kevin House, the 4-year wide receiver out of Southern Illinois. Demetrius Johnson on the coverage, but you can't fault Jerry Goldstein. That ball was thrown right in there.
And you sense that he has the hot hand. Last week against New England, he got the ball 4 times. He scored 4 touchdowns on the first 4 possessions. This ball thrown by Goldstein is just a post pattern to Kevin House, the big play receiver. He can't hold on to it. It's thrown low. Only the receiver can actually throw it in a good spot because only the receiver can make the reception. No chance of an interception. Could have been caught. Goldstein is hot.
Kevin House wide to the left side. Gerald Carter to the near side. Goldstein barking signals. 2nd and 10. Tampa Bay at the Detroit 37. Bobbles the snap. A little bit of a timing miscue, but James Wilder turned it into a big gain. Williams made the tackle. Good blocking over on the right side by 70, Kelly Thomas, and Sean Farrell, 62, as they almost had a fumble on the snap exchange between Wilson, the center, and Goldstein, the quarterback, right there.
Exactly. Good second effort by Wilder after that exchange problem. Fortunate for Tampa Bay, no fumble. They're in good position. 3rd and less than a yard.
Wilder in the preseason, 19 carries, 55 yards. 3rd and short, double tight end, now triple tight end alignment for the Bucs. Carver chopped down, very close. His knee went down at about the 31-yard line, but no contact was made by the Lions. He got back up and got it maybe back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th and about half a yard. Interesting play call now. You've got Bill Capice, and I've got to believe early in this football game with the momentum the Bucs have right now, John McKay is going to go for it.
It's an interesting call, and the momentum they have coming out of preseason. They're 4-0. They're hot. They have a new quarterback. Boy, would they love to get on the board early. This measurement might be closer than we think it is. He got back up, tried for the first down. I think it's going to be really close.
Less than 2 feet. John McKay.
Talking to Jimmy Giles just back after that long contract holdout, sending him in there. They're going for it. And the crowd likes it.
There'll be 3 tight ends in there now. Jerry Bell, 82. Jimmy Giles, 88. Obradovich is 86. Good time for play action. You might go for the scoring strike right here if you want to gamble a little bit. Otherwise, I'm sure they'll send one of the tight ends in motion, run a play into the line off of him. They stack him up, Melvin Carver, and when they unpile, I believe they'll probably have to call for another measurement. The referee, Gordon McCarver. Fantetti in there in the tackle for the Lions.
I think one of the reasons that John McKay went for that, he has tremendous respect for his right guard, number 62, Sean Farrell, second year out of Penn State, a #1 draft choice, and Kelly Thomas, 2 big studs on the right side. That's the spot they went over, so we'll wait now for the measurement.
No measurement. They didn't pick it up. The Lions offensive unit trotting out onto the field right now. Well, now the chains do come out from the far side as McKay asked for the measurement. John McKay, what a story at USC. 4 national championships when he was the head coach of the Trojans, and you can see they picked up maybe the length of the football and was shy of first down yardage by exactly that much. And you look at the brain trust of the Detroit Lions there, Monty Clark, former Dallas Cowboy, Cleveland Brown, and San Francisco 49er. Eric Hipple will take over the Lion offense when we come back. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Detroit Lions. We're scoreless early in the first quarter. Well, be sure and be with us next Sunday as CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League continues with either Dallas at St. Louis or Tampa Bay at Chicago, all beginning with the NFL Today at 12:30 Eastern Time. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Cowboys, of course, open up at RFK Stadium in Washington tomorrow, the same stadium that their season ended in. St. Louis opens up on the road this afternoon. They're at the Superdome in New Orleans. Hipple completes his first pass to Leonard Thompson, and he's very close to first down yardage before Scott Brantley, 4-year linebacker out of Florida, brought him down.
And it's interesting talking to Hipple yesterday. He told us, well, we think we're going to throw the ball. As you look at Billy Sims and James Jones, the big fullback we talked about, Hipple said he's going to throw the ball, and John Holt, number 21, may be the man we'll work on. He opened up with a pass, good offensive line, solid. Keith Dorney, the big man, at tackle for Detroit Lions.
Nichols to the far side, Thompson to the near side as Hipple and Lions pick up 13 yards on their first possession. Inside, that is Billy Sims, the 4-year outstanding running back out of Oklahoma. First-round draft pick, of course, back in 1980. Now let's take a look at the Buccaneers defense, anchored, of course, by the veteran nose tackle Dave Logan, and he's a good one. Leroy Selman, Tampa Bay's first ever draft pick, and John Cannon on the other side, and the Bucs are very excited about him. All you've got to say is Hugh Green, linebacker, and of course the tradition of Tampa Bay's defense speaks for itself. Cotney, Washington, and Holt, and it's a young secondary that John McKay expects to be tested here this afternoon by the Detroit Lions. 2nd and 6 for Detroit. Hipple to pump. Wide open is Thompson, and Hipple misfires. Thompson was wide open at about the 39-yard line. Mike Washington was there on the coverage, but that should have been a completed pass. Actually,
there was a mix-up between Hipple and Thompson. Billy Sims coming out of the backfield was much more wide open than Thompson. Thompson sort of slowed up, looked like he wasn't going to get the ball. A miscue there. As you look at Monty Clark yelling instructions. Gary Danielson standing next to him, number 16. A bit of a quarterback controversy over the years in Detroit as well, with Danielson and Hipple both fighting for that job. Monty Clark said, Hipple is our quarterback now. He is our starter. He was very clear about that yesterday.
The 4-year quarterback out of Utah State. They show shotgun. 3 wideouts are in there. Sacked from behind at the 46-yard line. Dave Logan. 5 sacks, 61 solo tackles in 1982 out of Pittsburgh. A 12th round pick back in 79. Can you believe it?
And the respect that they have for Dave Logan, number 76, as you see him jogging off the field. This is the shotgun. Detroit's been using it a lot. Logan is on an end tackle game. Watch the left of your screen. You'll see him come back. Hipple holding the ball. Good coverage downfield. And then he just wraps him up. Logan with the sack.
Andre Tyler back deep for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Michael Black, who averaged over 40 yards a kick in the preseason, the rookie out of Arizona State. There is Andre Tyler, and there is Michael Black. Low snap from center. Black booms a short kick that Tyler will field cleanly at the 26. Busts 1 tackle at the 30 and fights his way up to the 33, and the Bucs will break 1st and 10 from that point. We've got 9:38 left to go in a scoreless first quarter. We're live from Tampa Stadium, the site of Super Bowl 18, which you can also see here on CBS Sports. The Bucs and the Lions zip to zip.
For smaller cars.
Coming up next on CBS Sports, third round action from the U.S. Tennis Championships, live from Flushing Meadow, New York. You'll see the #1 seed, John McEnroe, against Vince Van Patten, and we'll keep you up to date on all the other action. You see that match the other day between John McEnroe and John Sodry? It was a rematch of the NCAA Championship from 1978 when Sodry and McEnroe did battle again. That is Leonard Thompson, the outstanding wide receiver for the Detroit Lions, who was shaken up on the punt coverage team, but he is expected back in. Revis, by the way, for Tampa Bay, we showed you him. He was injured, a knee injury, we are told, and he is not expected to return.
Tough break for Tampa Bay as we watch Leonard Thompson. It's interesting, Leonard Thompson is a starter, yet he's so valuable on special teams that he's forced to play. John McKay obviously concerned about his offensive line a little bit now as Gene Sanders is in there for Dave Revis.
Kevin House out wide to the top of your screen, and Gerald Carter to the near side. Motion by the tight end Bell. Play action, loose football, and it looks like the Lions have got it down at the 36-yard line. Big pileup. Melvin Carver was down there bobbling the football. You can see them stack up now at the 35, and Detroit first and 10.
Goldstein got the handoff, no problem there. Looked like a good handoff, he just couldn't hold the ball. That's Melvin Carver. Just dropped the ball, it never got a handle on it.
And I believe it was the rookie out of Missouri, Demetrius Johnson, 21, who covered the pigskin. 5th round draft choice in 1983. We mentioned at the top of the telecast that Monty Clark is so excited about the Lions this year. The top 7 draft picks have all made the club. There's a renewed interest in the football team around the Detroit area, and there's a new excitement also because, well, some of the disruptive elements are gone. We'll talk about that as the game unfolds. There is Monty Clark and Gary Danielson on the sideline. It's first and 10 Detroit, the first turnover against the Buccaneers. Eric Hipple is the quarterback. Line of scrimmage to the 36. Locked to the left side. Motion to the near side. Inside handoff goes nowhere, and Dave Logan stops James Jones. That's the first time the #1 draft pick out of Florida has carried the football this afternoon. John, let's talk a little bit about some of the disruptive influence as we take a look at what Philadelphia did in the closing minutes last night against the 49ers. Gone from the Detroit Lions, Bubba Baker, Dave Hill, and, of course, Stan White. And yesterday at the Lions practice, Monty Clark told us he was never as happy to see any individual leave a team as he was Stan White. And he said, you can quote me.
And I thought his point about, I don't want to coach hostages. I want guys that will go out, hit, and want to be here was the most important one that he said.
Second and 10. Hipple will fire. Tight end, looping from the right side, down at the 32, but check the flag, thrown from across the field. Ulysses Norris, the 5-year tight end out of Georgia, a 4th round pick in '79, wrestled down by Jeff Davis, but the call against Detroit.
Ulysses Norris, of course, is starting for David Hill, who was traded to the Rams. Last year, he only caught 3 balls for 44 yards. Preseason, not bad, 8 catches for 62. A lot of burden on this man, a terrific athlete, 6'4", 232, a good target to throw to. They think, and Larry Seipel was telling me yesterday, the receiver coach, that maybe they lose a little bit on blocking because Hill was lower, had better leverage as we listen to the referee's call.
Pass interference, number 80, offense. Repeat.
Again, it brings up 2nd and 21. Speaking of Hipple, we had a soda with him late yesterday afternoon, and we asked him about Ulysses Norris, and he said, good blocker, good hands, good concentration. Eric didn't feel they lost a thing in letting David Hill go to the Los Angeles Rams.
Maybe experience. There he pushed off the defensive back, got a call. That's experience. You have to know how to finesse that.
Screen to the left side. James Jones bumped down finally at the 41-yard line as he bounced off a couple of Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mark Cotney, the 8-year veteran out of Cameron State, finally. The Atlanta Falcons leading the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field by that 6-0 score. And the Cardinals of St. Louis have jumped out in front over Bum Phillips, Kenny Stabler and company in the Superdome. And of course, next week, the St. Louis Cardinals play host to the Dallas Cowboys and the Buccaneers on the road in Chicago. Check your local listing. It all starts with the NFL Today. Brent Musburger and company back at CBS Sports Control in New York. First and 10 Buccaneers from their own 20-yard line. Wide receivers left and right. That's Bell in motion at the top of your screen. Goldstein again will put it up on first down. Fires dropped at the 24 by Melvin Carver. Carver in the preseason, 14 catches, 79 yards, no touchdowns, but that was a very catchable ball.
Melvin Carver not having a good beginning. He fumbled, now he dropped the pass. It was definitely catchable. Tampa Bay a little bit tentative after having such a great preseason. Of course, as we said, preseason is like batting practice in baseball. You got to do it when the man's out there firing 90 miles an hour. This is the real thing, a division rival, an important game for both teams.
Tough to repeat what this man did against the Patriots a week ago Friday night when he led the Buccaneers to scores on their first 4 possessions. They'll fire on second down. In the grasp of the Detroit Lions, William Gay, the 6-year lineman out of Denver, came from the Broncos in a trade, played tight end in college.
And you're used to seeing on that side of the screen Bubba Baker. Here William Gay comes, gets a good rush. Goldstein's holding the ball, comes right up the middle, makes the sack. And of course they were worried about Bubba Baker leaving and William Gay stepping in. Of course, people remember Bubba Baker back in 1978 when he led the NFL with 23 sacks. They think William Gay can replace him.
Bit of a mismatch. Gay there, 6'5", 255 against Jimmy Owens, who is 5'11" and 196, and Gay just blew right over him. 3rd and 18, and penalty marker down. Jerry Bell. Looks like he might have jumped off sides. Let's check the call now by our referee this afternoon, Gordon McCarty.
False start, left side of offensive line.
I would say Jerry Bell at 6'5" and 230 represents a pretty good chunk of that left side. What do you say, Doc?
Very large chunk. And a large shoes to fill. Jimmy Giles, we mentioned, just back. Of course, he's the all-pro tight end.
False start, left side offensive line, still 3rd down.
Giles told you yesterday, glad to be back. All the distractions now are behind him, and he figures he can work his way back into shape in about 2 weeks.
We expect to see Jimmy Giles today. Maybe the biggest problem coming back after a holdout is the hitting shape.
3rd and 23 from the 7-yard line. This series started at the 20. Bucks are backing up, and Goldstein will fire from his own end zone. And down he goes in the grasp of the Detroit Lions. That will be a safety. Detroit jumps on top, 2-0. Doug English and William Gay sacking Goldstein in the end zone.
Watch Doug English, number 78. Hard rush, beats his man right inside, gets double teamed, and then the center, number 650, Steve Wilson, goes to help someone else, leaves English free. English brings him down for the sack and the safety.
John, got to question Jerry Goldstein there. Why not dump it off into the flat, get rid of the football in the face of that awesome rush? We'll answer that question when we come right back. We've got 7:04 left to go in this first quarter. The Lions score first on a safety. Van Patten. And, of course, we'll keep you up to date on all the other action. Robbie Martin, number 83, back deep for the Detroit Lions. Frank Garcia, the punter of Tampa Bay, the rookie out of Arizona State, who averaged almost 43 yards, gets the free kick from the 20, and he gets a high kick away that Martin will field at the 31. Returns to the 40, the 45, up to the 47-yard line. So the Detroit Lions, after that safety sack by Doug English, have excellent field position. Doc?
The thing about a safety that's so demoralizing for a team, for Tampa Bay, is that you give up points, you give up the ball, and you give up field position. Now Detroit has the ball again on a 46-yard line, almost at midfield. Great field position. You're down 2-0. Your offense doesn't get another shot, so it's really a demoralizing play, a safety.
Well, it's kind of an interesting turnaround also early in the first quarter. The Bucks had it, you recall, down near the 31-yard line of the Lions, went for it on 4th and less than a yard, didn't pick it up. Lions still punted, so they've kind of been flip-flopping field position, and then Detroit took advantage of the Tampa Bay mistakes. Billy Sims hurdles over the right side and explodes near the 50-yard line. Second carry for Billy Sims in his 4th year out of Oklahoma. Jeff Davis out of Clemson came up to make the hit.
And the biggest question we asked everyone around Detroit about Billy Sims, he almost slept his way through preseason as you look at his yardage, incredible yardage over his career. But in preseason, he averaged less than a yard a carry, carried 24 times for only 16 yards. Everybody, to a man, said that when Billy Sims hits the field for a regular season game, he'll be ready to play.
2nd and 6 for Hipple and company. Eric is 2 of 4, 18 yards. Slow developing handoff to Billy Sims, who cracks it across the 50 and gets it down near the 48 of Tampa Bay. Leroy Selman, the very first draft pick of the Buccaneers, an 8-year veteran out of Oklahoma, helped out by Scott Brantley.
What can you say about Leroy Selman? All-pro, perennial all-pro. The heart of that defense. He plays on the same side with Hugh Green, number 53, standing right next to him there. What an awesome side of a defensive line. Many teams run away from them. They're afraid of that side.
3rd and 4. Sims has carried the ball 3 times for 9 yards. Line of scrimmage, the 48 of Detroit. Shotgun formation. Slot to the right side. Hipple releases. First down. He's got Jones out of the backfield, and the rookie's on a roll. Out of bounds at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10, Detroit. Johnny Ray Smith, the second-year defensive back out of Lamar, finally chased James Jones out of bounds. Watch how they set it up and how Hipple fired out of the pocket. A pickup of 29 yards.
James Jones is not only big at 235 pounds, but nifty. Watch this little move here. Gives a little doop-doop, cuts back inside, and then turns on deceptive speed, much like a Franco Harris. Franco never looked that fast, but boy, when he put it into overdrive, he was tough to catch. James Jones has some of that, maybe not as much speed, but has that kind of ability.
A couple of Gators doing battle there. Jones, a rookie out of Florida, and the man he beat was Scott Brantley. Nice move by Jones to cut it out of bounds near the 16-yard line. Johnny Holt wrestled him out of bounds. There is the Detroit Lions' #1 draft pick. 2 touchdowns, averaging almost 3.5 yards during the preseason. And there you saw what he did with the Gators last year.
And Monty Clark told us that he's much better than he even thought he was, James Jones. Well, a lot of people said, well, James Jones is going to come here. He's going to block for Billy Sims. We've been looking for the big fullback for years. That's not the case. He'll catch the ball out of the backfield, and he'll also run well with it.
Leonard Thompson, who had the wind knocked out of him, back now at wide receiver, and he's wide to the left side. Hipple batted down at the 10-yard line, intended for the tight end, Ulysses Norris. And there's a great defensive play by Jeff Davis in his second year out of Clemson, because Norris was open. Davis came over and batted the ball loose.
The cornerback was covering outside. John Holt is on the outside. Jeff Davis is on the inside. Davis makes the lunge at the last minute, gets his hand in there. You see Holt on the outside. That play wasn't going anywhere, even if it was complete. He tried to stuff it in there when maybe he should have looked elsewhere to throw the ball.
Actually, the ball was thrown a little bit behind Norris. The 5 nickelbacks in there now for Tampa Bay. Hipple from the shotgun. 3rd and 8 for the Lions from the 17. Motion all over the field, and it looks like flag day. Now, what Tampa Bay will do, Doc, as you know, they stick with a 3-4 defense. They go to a 4-man front, 2 linebackers when they get into that nickel-back situation.
The advantage of that, as we listen to the referee.
Most of the offensive line.
Most of the offensive line. Didn't pin it on any one man. The advantage of having 4-man rushing is that you get pressure on the quarterback, and you still have room for a nickel back if you use 2 linebackers. So you're getting coverage and you're getting pressure. The best
Offense, still 3rd down.
The best of both worlds, Jim.
Gordon McCarter getting a lot of airtime. 2 penalties, 15 yards against the Lions. The Bucs have been backed up once for just 5 yards. So now it's 3rd and 13. Hipple, slot formation to the right side. Thompson to the bottom of your screen. Nickel back in there now for Tampa Bay. Hipple got room to run. Almost gets decapitated at the 16-yard line, and a flag is down, and the Bucs can't believe it. Johnny Smith out of Lamar almost took that man's head off.
And Jim, that's the call.
Look at Hugh Green. Look at Hugh Green.
Hugh Green's upset. Look at that. He says it was a legitimate hit, but Jim, it wasn't a legitimate hit because he went up high. Watch Johnny Ray Smith at the end of this play. Hipple tells me one of the things that recommends him as a quarterback is his durability, his ability to run and go for it. Here, watch. Number 22 coming in, hits him right up high in the chin with his elbow, with his helmet. That's the difference. Had he gone down lower, no penalty.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Blow to the hip. Number 22 defense. First down.
Take another look. All right, and watch and see if the first tackler right there, Logan, doesn't actually begin to pull down Hipple. Now here's the hit. He pulls him down just as the elbow goes up.
Under the chin, under the face mask, unnecessary. Of course, as a defensive back, when you see that quarterback running, you want a piece of it. That was too much.
1st and goal for the Lions from the 8. Double tight end alignment. Wide receiver to the top of the screen. Billy Sims chopped down at the 10. Jeff Davis, who's playing an all-pro kind of game here in the first quarter, has made his 4th solo tackle.
Now, over the years, we all know that Tampa Bay has lived by their defense. They've been in the playoffs 3 of the 4 years. Main reason was Doug Williams and a fine defensive team. Last year, they were ranked 3rd in the NFL in defense. As you look at Jeff Davis, second man out of Clemson, they have a good linebacking core with Brantley, Green, Davis, and Hawkins. Excellent.
As you know, John, 3rd in the NFL in overall defense, but somewhat suspect at times against the pass. Let's see what Hipple comes up with now on 2nd and 10. Slot to the right side, he'll throw. Blitz. Behind the intended receiver, Norris, who was cutting from the left side. The wide receiver, Thompson, was crisscrossing in the end zone, but he couldn't get to it. And Hipple and the Lions now look at 3rd and 10.
Hipple did well to get away from the rush of number 52. Scott Brantley came on the blitz up the middle. No one picked him up. Hipple sidestepped him. Got to have mobility. And Monty Clark's wondering, in this situation, what do you do with the ball? I think you put it up in the end zone, maybe get it back out of the backfield, try to go for that touchdown.
Of course, he's got the rifle like Eddie Murray over there on the sidelines, the outstanding place kicker for the Detroit Lions. And this for Murray would be a mere chip shot. He was booming him through yesterday at the Lions workout from about 60 yards away. Fumble on the snap. It's covered by the Lions. Homer Elias out of Tennessee, the left guard, fell on the football. That's a break for Detroit. Tampa Bay had an opportunity, and now we'll see that man, Eddie Murray.
It's interesting, Homer Elias was pulling on that play, ran by, saw the ball, and said, whoops, maybe I better get back. As you look at the orange crowd here in Tampa, almost a full house on a beautiful 88-degree day.
Is it 2 weeks from today when Tampa Bay is here, and it's Orange Day, where everybody will be wearing orange?
Exactly.
Eddie Murray, 16 of 16 in point afters last year, 11 out of 12 in the field goal department. He was perfect during the preseason, 8 for 8, an extra point, 6 out of 6, and that's just a chip shot. And the Lions go up on top now by a score of 5-0. The safety by Doug English, the field goal by Eddie Murray. We've got 3:41 in a scoreless first quarter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've had a safety against them and a field goal by Eddie Murray. And when we watch Eddie Murray line up,
Jim, I think it's important. When you look at it here, Tampa Bay is only trailing 5-0. One touchdown, one score puts them ahead of Detroit. Detroit's been working. They got that safety. They moved the ball well with the help of a penalty here. And now they're leading 5-0. And Murray seems to be a problem with his arm. I don't know how a place kicker would hurt his arm, but Murray seems to be holding his hand.
Maybe if Leroy Selman or Hugh Green ran into you. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the National Football League is prohibited. The Bucks go 43 yards in 10 plays. The Lions go 43 yards in 10 plays, and they use 3:26. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened to Eddie Murray.
Perfect on the kick. Oh, yes, he does take a shot. Yes. Number 24, Thomas Morris from Tampa Bay came in, hit him a little bit late. Could have been a penalty.
It's amazing what our director, John McDonough, can do when you give him that replay machine, isn't it? There are the deep backs for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. James Owens, 26 to the top of your screen. Michael Morton, number 1 to the near side. And Murray, after that field goal, will kick off from the 35. Lions lead 5-0. 3:41 to go, first quarter. Didn't get all of this one. Morton will field at the 8. Slithers forward to about the 24. And Jerry Goldstein, the young quarterback, will start 1st and 10 from that point. And you can see Murray is still bothered in that left arm and in the wrist vicinity.
I think it's important as you watch Murray leading. Fortunately, he doesn't kick with his arm. It's important as we look at some scores coming up here. Atlanta leading Chicago 6-0. Dan Henning, first year as head coach. Minnesota 7-0 over Cleveland. I think Minnesota is going to be one of the teams to beat in the Central Division. Houston, Eddie Biles, job on the line, leading Green Bay 10-7.
That's amazing. I formation now for Goldstein. Second man through, Melvin Carver bowls his way up near the 28, brings up 2nd down and 8. Running over that right side with a blocking by Kelly Thomas and Sean Farrell. Gary Cobb, the 5-year linebacker out of USC, came up to make the tackle. Next week here on CBS, it all starts with the NFL today. The Dallas Cowboys and the St. Louis Cardinals, and then the Chicago Bears playing host to these Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It all starts at 12:30 Eastern Time. Check your local listings.
And St. Louis against Dallas is really tough at home. 4 of the last 9 times they've played, the Cardinals beat the Cowboys. in St. Louis.
7 of the last 9 games between the Cardinals and the Cowboys have been decided by a field goal or less. Second down, 8 yards to go. Wide receivers left and right. Goldstein over the middle, wide open, the big tight end, Mark Whitty. He's up near the 39, and that's a first down.
A safe, high percentage pass. That's the kind of offense that Tampa Bay is going to have this year. He just drills it to the big man who was lucky to survive. Now, he was on the line when Jimmy Giles came back, the rookie out of North Texas State, had an excellent preseason, a touchdown last week, and they were thinking that we won't carry 4 tight ends, but Whitty made it on special teams. There he makes a good reception.
Wide receivers left and right again. The I-back formation now. Goldstein sets the Bucks down at the 39, puts back to Carver, sweeps the right side, gets a block up to the 40, bowls his way to the 45 before Gary Cobb finally wrestled him out of bounds. Watch the blocking over there by number 32, Jimmy Wilder, to help him out, and Sean Farrell, 62.
The old I pitch. How many times have we seen John McKay do that? Student body right, student body left, O.J. Simpson, Ricky Bell. Here the pitch, Wilder leading. Gets a good block on Fantetti. The middle linebacker makes the difference. Good running by Carver.
1st and 10 for the Buccaneers. They trailed it 5-0. Wide receiver out to the near side. That's motion by Andre Tyler. Carver gets a block from Farrell. Maybe a yard.
Heck, it worked once. Why not try it again? That time Detroit was ready. Hardly any gain.
Fantetti, the 7-year middle linebacker out of Wyoming, along with Gary Cobb. Tampa Bay had 1 scoring drive thwarted when they went for it on 4th and less than a yard. The Lions defense stiffened. Detroit took over. Then the sack by English in the end zone of Jerry Goldstein.
And you might have seen Mark Whitty come into the game. John McKay is sending in his plays with his tight ends.
Whitty, Obradovich, and Jerry Bell in there now. The backs are split, Owens and Carver. Owens gets the call, or Wilder. That is Wilder stacked up, and the fans are going to get on McKay for his play calling on short yardage situations. That's the 2nd time that they've failed. Out of Missouri, Jimmy Wilder, the 3rd-year running back. 2nd-round pick back in '82, tackled by Curtis Green for the Lions. They're very high on him on that left side.
Exactly. Curtis Green, replaces Dave Purify. New faces on that defensive line. Purify gone. William Gay replacing Bubba Baker. But still a good one. Green is quick and as fast as any defensive lineman. Not that big, 6'3", 250, but a good one, 3rd year out of Alabama State.
Talked to Doug English, who also anchors that defensive line, yesterday at the hotel, and he said a lot of the Lions in that defensive unit are simply tired of mediocrity. You heard the gun. That's the end of the 1st quarter. The Detroit Lions have a safety and a field goal. Tampa Bay has nothing. We'll come back with 2nd quarter action with Jim Kelly and John Dockery. Welcome back to Tampa Stadium here in Tampa, Florida, where the Buccaneers are on the short end of that 5-0 score of the Detroit Lions. A safety when Jerry Goldstein was sacked in the end zone by Doug English, then a 29-yard field goal by Eddie Murray. And that's the 5-0 count the Lions enjoy right now. That's Robbie Martin, 83 back deep, and that is Frank Garcia, the rookie out of Arizona. Awaiting the snap. In the first down department in that 1st quarter, the Lions had 3, the Buccaneers had 4. And we'll pick up on those stats after this Garcia anticipated punt. The line of scrimmage to 46. Good snap, and Garcia this time gets a beauty away, chasing Robbie Martin. In fact, Martin will just let it hit on the field. It goes on into the end zone. Boy, they had a great chance, Doc, and that's where specialty teams are so important.
Exactly. That ball, Robbie Martin was right. If a ball hits inside the 10-yard line, most coaches say stand at the 10-yard line. If you have to back up, let it go. That ball hit, and it stayed where it was, but Tampa Bay wasn't able to knock it out in the field, so it's a touchback.
That's Turdell Middleton, the former Green Bay Packer, that had a shot at it. So when we come back, Hipple and company start for the Lions from their own 20-yard line, and they lead 5-zip. 6-0. Neil Lomax to Doug Marsh. The point after was good. It was an 11-yard pass. 7-0 the Cardinals on top. And of course, next week, many of you will see either the Cardinals playing host to the Dallas Cowboys or the Bears playing host to these same Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It all starts with the NFL today. Brett Musburger back at the NFL control, 12:30 Eastern Time. Eric Hipple over the middle, wide open to the tight end Norris, who couldn't make the one-hand catch at the 42. The throw-in Samoan, Jack Thompson.
And the quarterback controversy down here in Tampa. Who would they start? Didn't know until Saturday when John McKay told everyone. Jack Thompson and Jerry Goldstein nip and nip in the preseason. A lot of pressure. Thompson, of course, they gave up a #1 draft choice to Cincinnati, some money. But you know, Thompson and Goldstein very tight together as kind of no-name replacements for Doug Williams. So they're best of friends, but a difficult battle at quarterback.
Mark Nichols wide to the left side. Leonard Thompson split wide to the right side for the Lions. Hipple will throw on 2nd and 10. Goes to the safety valve. Billy Sims thrown behind him. Incomplete pass. Jack Cannon over on the left side, putting all kinds of pressure on Hipple.
And Hipple told us how difficult it was to throw against a 3-4 defense when they drop all of those linebackers and secondary into the zone. It's throwing against 8 men. You have to throw underneath and hope that your back will run with the ball and get some yardage for you.
Chicago has just answered that Bartkowski touchdown pass with a score of their own, so Mike Ditka has the much improved Chicago Bears back in front by a point, 7-6. And of course, Chicago plays host to the Buccaneers next week at Soldier Field. From the shotgun, Hipple. First down out of the backfield, James Jones at the 35. Johnny Ray Smith came up to make the tackle. Hipple now 4 out of 10 for 60 yards.
4-man rush by Tampa Bay was an in-tackle game. They handled it very well. The shotgun gives him plenty of time. Hipple to find his receiver, James Jones, with those sure hands, makes the catch, turns upfield, gets the first down.
You know, as we stood over on the Lions sideline yesterday at practice and talked with James Jones, very quiet young man. We asked him who he might fashion himself after in the National Football League, and he said, "I don't know. I'm just Jimmy Jones here trying to do a job."
He already has 3 receptions for 49 yards.
Motion by the tight end, handoff Billy Sims behind the blocking of James Jones, busted up near the 36-yard line, tackled by Scott Brantley. You know, of James Jones, Eric Hipple said he really is playing like a rookie. All you have to do is tell that youngster something one time and he knows it instinctively. He's got a kind of an uncanny sixth sense.
And even Dougie English and Monty Clark, when you talk to him, said James Jones' maturity is more like a 4-year veteran than a rookie out of college.
Lions very high on their #1 draft pick. A free agent, Jeff Chadwick, now 89, deployed wide to the left side. Hipple looks at 2nd and 8, a will throw. Wide open is Nichols at midfield. First down for the Lions at the 49-yard line of Tampa Bay. John Holt wrestled him out of bounds.
A simple square-out pattern. As we watch it from the end zone, a great shot. You'll be able to see Hipple coming back. It's a simple square-out. Holt is a little too far off. The ball is delivered well. First down. Even though it had a little ripple on it. I mean...
That looked like a Billy Kilmer pass.
The old dying duck.
Mark Nichols, out of San Jose State, 6'2", 208.
Very high on him. He was a #1 player, drafted in 1981. A big guy at 6'2", 4.4 speed, potential for a big play, problem in running his routes.
Wide receivers are split. Hipple short drop, fires to Nichols, got it at the 45, busted down, fumbled the football, covered by the Buccaneers at their own 37-yard line. First and 10, Tampa Bay. Neil Colsey, the 9-year veteran out of Ohio State, the man who pounced on the pigskin first, and the Bucs get a break. Johnny Holt made the hit on Nichols. Look how he's carrying the football out there like a loaf of bread, and there it goes, and watch Colsey.
Colsey comes up with the... Interesting that he was carrying out there, then he tried to put it away, and when it brought it in, it slipped out before he was even hit. Colsey comes up with it, a big play for Tampa.
We've got 13:07 left to go in the first half. The Lions have a safety and a field goal. The Bucs have the football. Wrested from him by Jimmy Connors a year ago against Vince Van Patten, the son of Dick Van Patten, of course, the actor. There's Neil Colsey, the former veteran of the Miami Dolphins, former Buckeye out of Ohio State, who covered that football. First and 10 for the Buccaneers at their own 38-yard line. 3 wideouts are in there now with a lone setback, Jimmy Wilder, and Wilder gets the call. Big hole right side. He bowls across the 47 to the 48-yard line. Gary Cobb made the tackle. Otherwise, Wilder was gone. Farrell and Thomas on the right side opened up a huge hole. Look from the end zone now. Watch the blocking from 62 and 70.
And they took care of, you see number 73, Mike Dawson, taking one side. Good blocking by the middle of the Buck line. Wilder gets the yardage.
Again, the play calling by John McKay, shuttled in with the tight ends. There's Jimmy Wilder in his 3rd year out of Missouri. And what he's done in his young career. 5-pro set now. Long count by Goldstein, second and short. They need 3. They get maybe all of it. Melvin Carver approaching the 47-yard line. Doug English, the 7-year lineman out of Texas, came up to make that tackle. Around the NFL today, Minnesota has gone on top over Cleveland by a score of 10-0. And Houston now watching Green Bay come back. The Oilers led early, and the Rams against the New York Giants leading by a field goal. Saints coming back against the Cardinals. Kenny Stabler, I think he even shaved this year. Don Shula's Dolphins out in front in Buffalo. Kay Stevenson, the first-year coach there, and the Bengals beaten badly in the last preseason game by the Detroit Lions, falling behind Al Davis's Oakland Raiders. Look at the Colts against the Patriots. Baltimore 0-8-1 last year. Motion, that's Carver. Wilder with the football. Picks up 3 very tough yards on that right side. Curtis Green came up to make the tackle. I said all along the Colts were not going to be the worst team in the National Football League. They improved themselves with a couple of trades, even though John Elway didn't want to play in Baltimore.
They still have their problems, though, Jim.
But they've got so many draft picks from last year, and again, Frank Kush now in his second season. And the Patriots, they've got a second-year coach, Ron Meyer. Trouble in paradise up there in Patriot land. Shelby Jordan refused to put on the pads after ordered to by Ron Meyer the other day. Ron Meyer said, "See you later." 2nd and 5. Nothing doing on that left side for Carver. Fantetti out of Wyoming came up, plugged the hole.
You get the feeling that coaches around the NFL have had enough of some of the problems off of the field. They're really interested in players that will come to play, much like Monty Clark told us yesterday. He doesn't want those problems. He's glad, as you look at John McKay, he's glad that some of the guys are gone, like Stan White and Bubba Baker and Hill, so they can get down to playing ball. Same thing with Shelby Jordan up in New England.
John McKay, you saw on the sideline there. When he took over at USC, Ike was president, and the Russians were just sending up their first Sputnik. 3rd and 4. Goldstein under pressure. Down he goes back at the 43-yard line. William Gay out of USC. Doug English out of Texas said good night.
Always a good rush from the Silver Rush. Of course, there are different guys in there. Gay playing well. But that's one of the problems at Goldstein. I mean, it's question here, as you look at Gay leaves the field, is whether Jerry Goldstein, who only 2 years ago was playing in the minor leagues, can come back and lead a team, a contender, to a playoff spot.
Bill Parcells making his Giant debut. You saw New York ahead of the Los Angeles Rams, and John Robinson making his Ram debut, coming over from USC. Asked him out in Los Angeles a couple weeks ago the biggest adjustment he had to make going from the college game to the pro game, and he said all I had to do is drive on a different freeway. Robbie Martin fields at the 18. Scudder steps forward up near the 27. About 9:19 left to go before the half at the Superdome. Wayne Wilson has pulled it in from about 2 yards out, and the Saints have now drawn even with the St. Louis Cardinals, who jumped out in front on a Neil Lomax to Doug Marsh scoring strike of 11 yards, and the Bears have gone up on top over the Atlanta Falcons as their first-year coach Dan Henning makes his debut. Of course, coming up next week, the Cardinals play host to the Cowboys, and Tampa Bay on the road against the Chicago Bears. Check your local listing. It all starts 12:30 Eastern Time. The NFL Today. Motion from the near side by Mark Nichols. 1st and 10 Detroit at their own 27. Pitch back fumbled by Billy Sims, but the veteran out of Oklahoma covered the ball and may have wrestled it forward up across the 25-yard line.
Neither team taking control of this game at the moment. Both teams having problems, fumbles. Mark Nichols fumbled before. Colsey recovered. Tampa Bay couldn't take advantage there. Billy Sims can't hang on to the ball, recovers it himself. Both offenses not showing that sharpness that both coaches would hope for. Of course, Tampa Bay very sharp in the preseason. Detroit up and down.
Coming up at halftime, that special story of Art Schlichter and his problems. It'll be an exclusive interview done by CBS Sports' Charles C. Canty. Of course, you're all very familiar with her outstanding work on our horse racing coverage in the NBA. Underneath, Mark Nichols bowls over one buck and maybe gets back to the 30-yard line. Scott Brantley, 52, came up to make the hit, and it'll bring up 3rd down and 7 for the Detroit Lions.
A simple underneath pass by Eric Hipple finds Mark. The backs and tight ends clear out, and you come back underneath with your receiver as Monty Clark talks to Ulysses Norris on the sidelines. Very simple pattern.
Monty Clark in his 6th season as the head coach of the Detroit Lions. A great believer in the work ethic, as we sat up in his suite at the hotel yesterday. Leonard Thompson over to the left side. Nichols to the near side from the shotgun on 3rd and 7. Underneath, wide open is Billy Sims. First down for the Lions at the 40-yard line. Hugh Green made his first solo tackle of the afternoon, and Sims is slow to get up. In his 4th year out of Oklahoma, take another look as he released out of the backfield. Doc?
He just slips out of the backfield and takes this ball as a reception, but afterwards he gets hit, really clocked right here as he tries for that extra yards right. Bing, that extra hit. It's number 52, Scott Brantley, 4th-year man out of Florida. And Sims is feeling that. He hasn't played much in preseason. He's a little bit rusty, but Eric Hipple told us, like in his rookie year, he had a tough preseason, didn't do much. But boy, when regular season hit, he turned it on. He was hoping for the same thing today.
How about 3 carries in the preseason? Fires over the middle. Hipple batted down at the last minute. Intended for Leonard Thompson. Scott Brantley. You could name him all-pro after this first half. He's had some kind of a 30 minutes.
Hipple might have thrown this ball just a little bit late. Let's take a look from the end zone. You get a feel for what the quarterback's seeing. Good protection. Delivers the ball. Brantley on the dive. Good play. Stretches out, gets his hands on it.
Johnny, you mentioned the good protection. What a job the rookie Jim Jones is doing on Hugh Green. Hugh was coming in from that left side linebacker post, and James Jones just leveled him. Sims now 6 carries for 70 yards for the Lions. 2nd and 10, Detroit. Hipple will throw. Underneath, needs a block, and now he's got a convoy and chopped down. A good arm tackle at the 42-yard line. Scott Brantley again.
Good idea, though. The play selection was a good one. You got a 3-man rush. Everyone's dropping deep downfield. You try to let the men come in, the front 3, Logan, Selman, and Cannon. Throw the screen. Hope that the deep men are so deep that they won't have time to recover and you'll get some yards. Didn't work because Scott Brantley, number 52, is there again.
There you see the 3rd down conversions for the Lions as they're looking now at 3rd and 6. You know, Billy Sims has had 14 100-yard games in his 3 seasons in the National Football League, but he's never rushed for more than 76 yards against Tampa Bay. He's got 6 carries, 7 yards here today. Batted down at the line of scrimmage, and Hipple didn't know where the football was. Dave Logan, guess who? 5 years out of Pittsburgh. He's only 6'2", 255, but that man right there batted that ball loose.
Perfect size for the nose tackle, resembling a fire plug. You want him squatting quick. Those are the men that have to take the punishment, take on 2 blockers. Here he gets that right hand up in the air. Hipple sees it, tries to pull the ball back, but can't. It slips out of his hand for an incompletion.
He batted the ball loose while Don Greco was throwing a pretty good block on him. Andre Tyler. Back deep. That is Andre, number 81. And Michael Black, the rookie kicker out of Arizona State, right there at the 32-yard line. Tampa Bay not doing much offensively, and I guess as we approach the 7-minute mark of this first half, you got to wonder how long John McKay will stick with young Jerry Goldstein. A beautiful spiraling kick, chasing Tyler back to the 9, breaks a couple of tackles, and down he goes in the grasp of several Lions at the 13-yard line. You got to wonder, John Dockery, exactly when John McKay might go with Jack Thompson in the backup quarterback role. There's our score. We've got 6:45 left to go in the first half. The Lions' lead remains 5.
Mash.
Number 14 in the orange on the headphones, the throwing Samoan Jack Thompson. Now, Jerry Goldstein in the preseason, 40 completions out of 66 attempts, 3 touchdowns. Jack Thompson, that man, 35 completions out of 60 attempts for 2 touchdowns. So they were very similar, and as John McKay told us yesterday at the Bucks complex, it was like flipping a coin. An entry, John Dockery, 1 and 1A.
And Jerry Goldstein got the nod because of his experience. He's been here a year. He knows the system, has a good feel for it, where Jack Thompson doesn't have quite that feel.
That was Carter who made a brief motion. Out of the backfield, that is Wilder. Wilder rambles up across the 25-yard line, and that should be enough for a Tampa Bay first down. Al Latimer, in his 4th year out of Clemson, the free agent, bumped him out.
You talk about Goldstein and Thompson. I think that any quarterback will tell you that he doesn't want to be looking over his shoulder all the time, waiting for someone to come in after you have 2 or 3 bad series. Now, Goldstein hasn't played that well here, but I think the most revealing comment that John McKay made to us yesterday is said, neither quarterback will lose games for us. So I think he wants a workman quarterback who can run the machine and not make mistakes as much as anything.
There you saw the stats on Jerry Goldstein. 6 out of 9. Slot formation to the right side. The fullback, small hole, and he slithered through it on that right side. Melvin Carver blocking up front by 50 Steve Wilson, the 8-year center out of Georgia. Sean Farrell, the 2nd-year right guard out of Penn State. And Kelly Thomas, the rookie out of USC. Wilder now 4 rushes for 28 yards.
And that would be a tough loss as you look at Curtis Green on the ground, third man defensive end out of Alabama State, a man that the Detroit Lions are counting on to replace and give them pressure with the likes of Bubba Green and Dave Purifoy, not with the team anymore.
You know, you talk about Kelly Thomas, the rookie out of USC, number 70, the right tackle. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they've got 3 players out of Southern California. Richard Wood, the 9-year linebacker, Kelly Thomas, the rookie, and the 9-year tight end Jim Obradovich. And for the Detroit Lions, there are also 3 former Trojans on the roster. August Curley, the rookie out of USC, Gary Cobb, the 5-year linebacker out of the Trojans, and William Gay in his 6th year. Coming up next week, the Dallas Cowboys and the St. Louis Cardinals. Right now, the Cardinals and the Saints are deadlocked 7-all in the Superdome. The Cowboys don't play until tomorrow night at RFK Stadium in Washington, the same stadium that their season ended in a year ago, as Tom Landry's Cowboys have lost in 3 successive NFC championships. And the Bears play host to these very same Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It all starts 12:30 Eastern Time with the NFL Today.
And Jim, you mentioned Dallas. I can't wait to see the results of Tom Landry's tougher-than-usual training camp.
I saw it last week as they had no problem with Houston. Out of the backfield, Jimmy Wilder, chased out by Gary Cobb.
You get a sense now that Goldstein has control of his offense. He's mixing the plays, he's running, he's passing, he's hitting his backside of the backfield. You get a feeling of maybe momentum building up at the moment.
You know, it's interesting, too. Let's pick up on preseason with John McKay and the Bucs. 4-0, the only team in the NFL to go that record. He said a week ago before the Patriots game, it's only a preseason game. It doesn't mean that much. Okay, but your last regular tune-up game, that's when you want to do a little fine-tuning. The Bucs scored in their first 4 possessions. Now I'll tell you what Tom Landry did a week ago. Goldstein, 7 out of 10, 74 yards, looks at 1st and 10 from his own 40-yard line. Slot formation to the right side. Stutter step by the fullback. Quick out and audible right there by Goldstein, incomplete to Gerald Carter. Last week, the Houston Oilers came in for the bragging rights to Texas, and Tom Landry led 14-0 before the Oilers even knew they were in a football game. Late in the game, when Houston went out in front on a 105-yard kickoff return, Cowboys got back in it. Who do you think came back in? Too Tall Jones, Harvey Martin, Randy White, Danny White, all right, Drew Pearson.
And they say preseason is meaningless.
You got
not
it.
in Texas. And not for either of these teams. Remember, Detroit last week beat Cincinnati badly, and Tampa Bay, as you mentioned, handled New England very easily.
2nd and 10. House in motion. Goldstein underneath. Caught by Kevin House up near the 47-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and about 3 yards to go. Bobby Watkins, 2nd year out of Texas State, comes up. Take a look now at the isolation on Kevin House.
Kevin House in motion, turns upfield, reads his receiver. He read the defensive back, so he broke outside. The ball was delivered as Goldstein was being dragged down by a Detroit defensive lineman.
All right, now, John, after this next play, talk a little bit about Boyd Dowler, who has become the quarterback coach, former wide receiver, of course, for Green Bay, and what he has meant not only to Goldstein and to Thompson, but to the wide receivers of Tampa Bay in terms of reading those routes. Goldstein on 3rd and short will throw for it, fires underneath, got his man, Gerald Carter. That's a Tampa Bay 1st down across midfield. Bruce McNorton came up to make the tackle.
And you're watching an offense here as Carter comes across to make that reception is more of the typical NFL offense, the quick, controlled passing game. High percentage passes. And you talk about Boyd Dowler. He has his receivers, when they come off the line, reading the defensive backs, the same as the quarterback's doing. So they have all kinds of options after the ball is snapped. That's the way it's done in the NFL now. In the old days with Doug Williams, it wasn't like that. They try to go downtown for the big bomb, and that was their main offensive weapon.
And John McKay at practice the other day was very quick to credit Boyd Dowler with improving his receiving corps. Big hole left side. James Owens behind the blocking of Snell and Sanders. Sanders in there. Revis is left with a knee injury. And Wilson the center. And again, it's McNorton who came up to make that tackle.
Owens must have been shocked at the size of this hole. You could have driven. They're obviously in a game. Good blocking by the offense. The result? 4.5 yards.
English was explaining the Detroit game plan defensively. We'll pick up on that after this play yesterday. 4:06 left to go in this first half. The Bucks are on a drive right now. They trail 5-0. House in motion to the top of your screen. Little swing pass. One-on-one for James Wilder. Loose football, but after the whistle blew, it's still Tampa Bay's football. All right, talk a little bit about the Detroit front four and what Doug English was explaining. They will never really go head-to-head with the Buccaneers defensively.
They really don't want it. If they're in a straight 4-3 with each man and a halftime, Art Sleester, special Chelsea Canty report on Sleester's problems, gambling exclusive interview. But if Doug English and the front four from Detroit line up head up on the offensive tackle and ends, you're going to see a lot of end tackle games. Nobody wants to play it straight. See, there's a man on center right now, number 73, Mike Dawson. That means they'll probably play it fairly straight. No, there is a game.
Goldstein needs 5, rifles the ball incomplete at the 40. William Gay puts the pressure on. Even if Carter could have come up with that football, it would have been about 2 yards shy of first down yardage. Now watch that Detroit front four.
Watch number 73. He's right on center. He's going to loop across, okay? And number 76 comes back inside. William Gay finally comes, gets loose, puts pressure on Goldstein. That's just an end tackle game to confuse a young offensive line.
Goldstein now 10 of 15. Robbie Martin. That is not Robbie Martin. That is William Gay, who's a little out of that breath right now. That's Garcia, and you see what he's done in the punting department. Robbie Martin back deep for the Detroit Lions. Martin awaiting this Garcia punt back at about the 11-yard line. Goes for the near side corner and just booms into the end zone, so the Lions will start from their own 20-yard line. We've got 3:02 left to go in this first half. It's been all Lions offensively. They've got a safety and a 29-yard field goal and a 5-point lead. Jim Kelly and John Dockery, welcome back to Tampa Stadium, the site of Super Bowl 18. It's at about 20 weeks down the road. 16 long, grueling games this year, and then, of course, the playoffs, and it all culminates with Super Bowl 18 right here on CBS Sports. Wide receivers left and right. Hipple, be careful time right now. James Jones. He picked up 5 yards, and he did most of that on his own. There was no hole over on the right side. John Cannon, number 78, came up to make the tackle along with Cedric Brown. Chicago now has gone back out in front over Atlanta. Minnesota, Cleveland has finally got on the board. Houston falling behind Green Bay. The Oilers led that game early. Green Bay's offense is just about awesome. And the Rams have regained the lead against Bill Parcells' Detroit Lions. A couple of debuts for 2 new head coaches in the NFL. Saints and Cardinals still deadlocked at 7-all. Cardinals will host Dallas next week, and the Bucs will be in Chicago. Hipple, open man. Leonard Thompson at the 35, breaks a tackle to the 40. Look out, pulls over another one down to the 45, down to the 47-yard line before Cedric Brown makes the tackle secure.
Shows you the great speed of Leonard Thompson. Watch his quick move after he catches the ball. Simply a hook pattern that Thompson then grabs the ball, as you should as a wide receiver, breaks upfield. Watch this movement here. Gives you an idea of why he was the best in average per catch in 1980 with almost 27 yards per catch. The man can go deep. Look at that. 19.1 average last year in receptions.
We're at the 2-minute warning. Detroit leads 5-0. Mediocrity, and he was optimistic. He said he didn't come into camp that way, though, John.
It was interesting. What he said was that he was willing to give Steve Clark's new no-nonsense, get-tough policy a chance, because the other things over the years have not worked. 47 years of mediocrity. The man is fed up with it, and yes, he was, because of a lot of his friends. Some of his friends were gone. Purifoy was gone. Bubba Baker, Hill. A lot of changes.
Chadwick to the left side. Nichols to the right side. Hipple scrambling for his life. Down he goes at the 34-yard line. Loose football, but not before Gordon McCarter, the referee, had blown that whistle. Leroy Selman, the very first draft choice. John Cannon, number 78, in there putting all kinds of pressure on Eric Hipple.
Let's take another look at it. Good pursuit by the defensive line from Tampa Bay. Hipple, a pretty good scrambler. Good improviser. Fancies that, but watch this. Good contain right there by number 78, John Cannon. And then Leroy comes in.
Hipple will scramble out of the pocket, and down he goes at the 40-yard line. John Cannon just chopped him down. He is 6'5", 255 in his third year from William and Mary. You remember what Hipple said yesterday? He doesn't like to scramble against that 3-4. How come?
And not only that, Hipple came into this game with a sore ankle, and right now he's down again. He may have re-injured it. Said that tape it up all the way through the calf, almost up to the knee. It was like a cast. But there he scrambled again, took a pretty good hit, and now he's down. And of course, if we lose Hipple, Gary Danielson is a capable replacement, had an excellent preseason, completing 55% of his passes. And there's been a bit of a quarterback controversy out in Detroit with Danielson and Hipple fighting for the job for the last few years. And here comes Gary Danielson, the veteran, 7 years out of Purdue, free agent in '76. Let's try and get a look and see what happened to Eric Hipple, a man who's not afraid to scramble, even though his ankle is bothering him. Okay, shoot top tackle may have twisted it. And you knew right away. You knew right away. He goes for the timeout because he knows there's only 1 minute and 34 seconds left. Had presence of mind to go for it, even though his ankle was bothering him. Now
Going off under his own power, though, and he looks like he could return if called upon. The Lions have got that 5-point lead with 1.5 minutes to go. Let's check the stats on Danielson now in the preseason. As you see that almost 51% completion ratio right there. There is what Gary did last year in the preseason this year, where the Lions went 2-2. He had 52 attempts, 29 completions, 423 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He also threw 2 interceptions.
And he was awesome versus Cincinnati last week. He threw for 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, playing the second half, leading Detroit to that victory.
34-7, the Bengals beaten by the Lions. From the shotgun, slot to the left side. Danielson comes in, doesn't have time to warm up, fires it, and it's incomplete at the 40-yard line. Almost intercepted by Mike Washington in his 8th year out of Alabama. He was looking for Mark Nichols, who was open, and Washington sealed it off.
You made a good point there, Jim. He didn't have time to warm up. There wasn't quite the zip that there should have been on that. He's in the shotgun. He's looking all the way downfield for the curl in. The ball does not have much zip. Gets there a little late, and Washington almost takes it away.
From the 40-yard line, Lions looking now at 4th and 16. You're looking at Andre Tyler, number 81. He is back at about the Tampa Bay 15-yard line. Michael Black awaits the snap at the 25 of Detroit. So Tampa Bay, with all 3 timeouts left and a 5-0 deficit, will have about 1:20 after this punt exchange. High spiraling kick. Tyler at the 17. Across the 25, near the 27, and that's where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will start 1st and 10. Eric Hipple, we are told from the Lions bench, is okay. He is expected to play in the second half. So right now, Tampa Bay trails 5-0. Jerry Goldstein has gone the entire way at the quarterback spot as you look at what Buffalo is not doing against the Dolphins.
And the Raiders, 17-0 over Cincinnati. Cincinnati having a lot of problems. They were winless in preseason. New England, 13, Baltimore, 3.
That's after the Colts led in that game by a score of 3-0. Jerry Goldstein, wide receivers left and right, lone back out of the backfield. Up near the 34-yard line is Jimmy Wilder, who bounces off a couple of Lions and stays on his feet back to the 35. Clock is running down to 105, 104. Hurry up offense now for the Buccaneers. They've still got 3 timeouts left. Goldstein, you can see there calling the audible. Slot formation to the left side. That is Gerald Carter in the slot. Backs up a couple of yards. Might have been motion on the far side. Flags are down. And it looked like one of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might have moved over on that left side. Might have been Gene Sanders, the left tackle.
False start, 74 offense.
Take a look at the last play again. Look at this second effort. It looks like he's down. He pitches the ball out to Wilder. We saw them practice that a little bit yesterday. Schoolyard play.
Number 74 offense, still second down.
That last play, the old hook and pitch that you used in the schoolyard.
Charles C. Canty will have that story. Baltimore Colt Art Schleister at halftime. Out of the backfield, and that's a bad ball thrown by Goldstein. Actually, the worst pass he's thrown the whole first half, and he might be feeling a little bit of the pressure right now as they're into that hurry-up offense. When you throw the ball low like that, John, as you know, it's just like in baseball. You're holding on too long, gripping it too tightly.
And this was an important drive, I felt, for Tampa Bay. They had a chance to get back in this game. A touchdown would put them ahead. A field goal would give them some momentum going into the locker room. They had time. They had the timeouts. The 2-minute offense is the toughest thing for any quarterback, especially a young one like Jerry Goldstein. I say young because he hasn't played that much in the NFL.
Keeps two backs in, splits the wide receivers, looks at 3rd and 9, gets it out to Wilder. Wilder tries to get out of bounds, should have tried to get the first down. Stays in at the 32, and the clock continues to wind down. 38, and now the Lions, I think, will take a timeout because they've got one timeout remaining, and they've got a chance to get that football back. You know, one thing we really haven't seen Goldstein concentrating on, and that is throwing the ball directly downfield. They've been going with the safe patterns to the wide receivers or to the backs looping out of the backfield. Now let's check the flag, and it looks like the preliminary indication is against Detroit. Goldstein, 11 out of 17, 92 yards.
That's exactly what Doug Williams talked about when I talked to him on the phone. He expected the offense to change dramatically. 5-step drops, quick rhythmic patterns.
Illegal use of hands. Number 78 defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
What a break. Doug English called for that penalty. A break for Tampa Bay. They get a first down. 38 seconds to go.
And Tampa Bay still has all 3 timeouts remaining. Slot formation to the left side for Jerry Goldstein. He's working with wide receivers Gerald Carter, 87, Theo Bell, and Kevin House. Theo Bell last week had a 69-yard touchdown reception against the Patriots. Long count. Lions are coming. Safety valve. Wilder chopped down at the 33. Good one-on-one tackle by Demetrius Johnson, a rookie out of Missouri. And Tampa Bay takes a timeout after using up 7 seconds. But again, now the crowd starts to get on the play calling here. That's not the fault of the quarterback. And anytime they go to the back coming out as a safety valve, you've got to credit the secondary. And it's a young secondary, John, of the Detroit Lions.
The Detroit Lions are in a 3-deep zone defense. Very tough to throw deep, very dangerous also.
We've mentioned Charles C. Canty's exclusive interview with Art Schlichter and his gambling problems while with the Ohio State Buckeyes before joining the Baltimore Colts. And Charles C., who most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with or work on the horse racing coverage we have here on CBS, on the Travers and Marlboro Cup and the Jockey Club and the Belmont, of course, and also her very interesting features last year during the NBA coverage, has this exclusive interview, a sad saga of Art Schlichter. Line of scrimmage, the 34-yard line for Tampa Bay. It's 2nd down and 10. The Bucs trail by 5. They've got 2 timeouts remaining. They've got to get that football downfield. Not going to do it by throwing the swing passes out of the back. 6 defensive backs in there for the Lions. Goldstein rifles it. Got the tight end at midfield. Jim Obradovich, 9th year out of USC. First down, and the Bucs take a timeout quickly.
Old reliable Jim Obradovich, number 86, over the middle, makes the reception on the hook. He's much like Gary Shirk was with the Giants. Let's watch it from ground level. Good spot. In the zone, you want to find the hole, the opening. Wise old veterans like Jim Obradovich can do that. Goldstein delivers it to him, makes a good catch, stretching out, picks up some yardage after the catch.
And Obradovich in the preseason, 7 catches for 91 yards, his longest for 26. You might have seen from our ground level camera right there the great block by number 70 or by number 50, Steve Wilson, the 8-year center out of Georgia. He just took Doug English completely out of the play.
And the presence of mind of the veteran Jim Obradovich, before he had even gotten up from the ground, he was calling timeout.
The man on the right with the glasses right there, standing next to John McKay. You can just see him in the lower edge of your picture. That is Boyd Dowler. He is the man that has moved from the wide receiver coach to the quarterback coach, and who is given so much credit both by the quarterbacks, Jack Thompson and Jerry Goldstein, and by the wide receivers, and most importantly by the head coach, John McKay, the man with the golf hat on, for helping open up this pass offense and helping to teach the receivers to read the defense and to run their routes better. Time remaining down in the lower right-hand corner. Goldstein, 13 of 19, 112 yards. Tampa has 1 timeout left. That's motion by Carter, bottom of your screen. Here comes English. What a hit at the 42, and Gerald Carter, how did he hang on to the football? Jimmy Williams and Roosevelt Barnes upended him, but it's a first down for Tampa Bay. Hurry up offense. They've only got 1 timeout. They're down to 5, 4. Throws it out of bounds to stop the clock. Now, why didn't they take the timeout, John, with about 12 seconds left?
Jim, you took the thought right out of my mind. This is not your perfect 2-minute offense. It's disjointed. It's non-rhythmic. Goldstein not running it very well.
But
not using their timeouts.
Okay, but let me interrupt. It's not really solely the fault of Jerry Goldstein, because with a new rule this year, any member of the Tampa Bay offense can call a timeout. So anyone downfield, whether it's a lineman, a wide receiver, a back, anybody can call timeout, and they did have one left. Now we're down to 3 seconds, and we will have to have a cannon shot here by Bill Capice. 18 of 23 last year. They will spot it down at the 47-yard line, tack on the 10 of the end zone, a 57-yard try. Andre Tyler will hold, and the crowd will tell you. A 57-yard try. Snap, spot, kick, short. Way short. So that will do it. That's the end of the first half. It's been all Lions offensively. They could muster a 29-yard field goal by Eddie Murray after Doug English sacked Jerry Goldstein in the end zone. 5-0. The Lions on top over Tampa Bay. We're at halftime. Coming up at halftime, that special interview, the exclusive interview with Art Schleister with Charles C. Canty. 5-0 Detroit lead.
Football League is sponsored by Toyota, who reminds you that it's a good feeling to buckle up for safety. The over 1,200 Midas Muffler and Brake Shops. And by Gillette Right Guard Solid with the action-triggered formula. CBS Sports is the place to be in September as the best in tennis pursue America's most coveted tennis titles at the U.S. Open. And from the opening kickoff through the Super Bowl, we'll bring you the great teams, the great players, the excitement of the National Football League. And the tradition continues with NCAA football. You'll see the nation's top teams in regional action, plus a primetime special, Notre Dame against Miami. All here in September on CBS Sports.
Welcome back to our studio in New York. Now, of course, many of you know Charles C. Canty from her work on other CBS Sports broadcasts, but this season she'll be doing reports for us on the NFL Today. And her first story is a CBS exclusive. In our pregame broadcast, we talked about the problem of cocaine in the NFL. Now, Charles C. takes a look at another young star who got caught up in another habit, one that turned his life into a nightmare.
At Ohio State, Art Schleister was the model of an all-American quarterback.
A compulsive gambler or a pathological gambler is an individual who gambles to the point where the gambling interferes with his ability to deal with life situations.
In college, Schleister projected such a good public image that he even had a book written about him called Straight Arrow. Schleister was a quarterback that brought the Buckeyes from 3 yards in a cloud of dust into aerial offense. It was fields such as this one which provided Art Schleister the stage upon which to act out his all-American role. But it was an image which made him most uncomfortable.
I read in a book about Elvis Presley one time, he said the image is one thing and the human being is another, and he said it's very hard to live up to an image. And I would believe that that's true. You know, I was in the public eye at all times, and I was criticized for the things I did wrong, and patted on the back for the things I did right, and which could have been minor, could have been major, but yet I just felt like everything I did was going to be publicized, and it puts a lot of pressure on you, and you feel like doing something else and doing something that you want to do.
It was here at the local racetrack that Schleister found his other life and pursued his passion.
Going to the races and that sort of thing was just a release for me. It was a place I could relax, and then it carried into more and more after that. But, you know, it was just a place where I could go and relax and just be me.
That life at the track was more than a release, however. For Art Schleister, it became a one-way ticket to trouble.
You know, I was an athlete, and I had never believed in drinking or using drugs. That wasn't an outlet for me. And gambling was really kind of legal. You know, going to the horse races was legal, and I think that's where it all started at. I guess it would almost be like a drug for me, as cocaine would be for somebody else, or it's just a high that you get when you enjoy doing something or winning and putting your money down and winning, and it was depressing when I'd lose too.
But there was more than excitement in the habit. We now know that compulsive gambling is as much a disease as alcoholism or the drugs that Schlichter so carefully avoided.
Don't get over it. It's not something it's not like a pneumonia. You take your antibiotic, you're cured, you finish, you stop the antibiotic, you go home, and or if you're in a hospital and that's that, you're never cured. We don't cure anybody. You can recover.
Last year, Art Schlichter took his disease with him to Baltimore. Leagues put him squarely on the road to a big downfall.
You get into debt and you don't want to come clean because you're scared to come clean. You know, you're scared to show anybody that, you know, this person who people look up to has made a mistake.
What was it that made you seek help?
The point that I wanted to come clean was when I just couldn't take it anymore. It was to the point where I was going to just completely explode, you know, inside, and I needed just to let it out.
Once he hit rock bottom, Schlichter finally sought help and exploded his straight-arrow image. The huge debts he ran up with bookies was a headline story in newspapers across the country. Then Commissioner Pete Rozelle stepped in and barred Schlichter from playing in the NFL indefinitely. He thus became the first pro football player to be suspended since 1963, when Paul Hornung and Alex Karras were set down for a year for gambling offenses. So Art Schlichter is now back home in Ohio, and for the first time since childhood, he's facing an autumn without competitive football.
It's all been tough. To watch a game on TV is real tough. I miss it. Hey, I've done it since I was in the 4th grade. You know, every fall since I was in the 4th grade. So it's been very difficult because you don't realize how much you miss things until you're away from it.
But Schlichter is convinced that he's on the way back to personal health and professional football. But at least there's still hope for a promising future.
I believe in the fact that I am a compulsive gambler, recovering compulsive gambler. I believe that it's been a long road back, and I believe that I had a lot of mistakes that I made. But I think that I will make it back, and I think I'll be successful.
Irv, you have an observation about this problem?
You know, Brent, people for years have made exceptions for athletes from the time they start competing as amateurs at the elementary school level all the way through the pro level. And I think that today, professional sports, just as industry has done, has to recognize the need to provide more human services. If a player needs counseling, whether it's in the area of drugs or gambling or some personal problem, that counseling must be made available to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's send you back to the stadium and the game you're enjoying here on CBS.
Thank you, Brent. We're back here at Tampa Bay with the Lions on the top end by a score of 5-0. We're at halftime. I'm Jim Kelly, John Dockery, former New York Jet, who wears a Super Bowl ring alongside. And it's been, well, it's almost been even, John.
It's been very even. You look at Tampa Bay, they outrushed, and they were just a few yards in passing behind. They had the ball for 13.5 minutes to Detroit's 16.5 minutes. Tampa Bay had it to Detroit's 13.5, yet they're trailing 5-0. To me, both defenses have been playing well, but I must say that the offenses have been inconsistent and plagued with problems. So, I mean, it's been a question of good defense, not much offense on either side.
Tampa Bay started out at their own 20-yard line. They backed up steadily. Doug English sacked Jerry Gold. Maybe you don't.
Do you want to wonder on the air?
No.
No. I think that's part of it. I think also the weather. I mean, it's what, 90 degrees today?
We're back at Tampa Stadium. You're looking live as the Detroit Lions lead the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by that 5-0 score, a safety and a field goal. Around the NFL today, the Bears of Mike Ditka have gone back out in front. And, of course, Dan Henning making his debut with the Atlanta Falcons. Cleveland, very inept this year, running into a very high-powered Tommy Kramer and Bud Grant team in Minnesota. They're at the half. Look what Green Bay is doing. We're told Lynn Dickey is 20 of 22 passing against Ed Biles' Oilers, and Ed Biles could be in trouble by about the 4th game of this year. The Rams and their new head coach, Johnny Robinson, not of course new to Southern California, having been the head coach at USC. and the Giants with their new head coach, Bill Parcells. The Cardinals go up on front. A Neil O'Donoghue field goal just before the end of the first half against Bum Phillips and his Saints at the Superdome. Buffalo still scoreless against Don Shula and the Dolphins. The Raiders over the Bengals, big. And of course, here at the half, it's Detroit on top over Tampa Bay by a score of 5-0. We'll be back with the second half kickoff in a moment.
Is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Sears, Roebuck and Company. For quality merchandise coast to coast, it's Sears. And by the twin action Norelco Rototrack Razor.
You're looking at Jerry Goldstein, who earned the starting nod by head coach John McKay. He won the starting quarterbacking chores over Jack Thompson. And there is Eric Hipple, who suffered a bit of a bruise just before the end of the first half intermission. But we are told from the Lions sideline that he will be back. He is 10 of 19 in the passing department. There is the throwing Samoan Jack Thompson. Their stats during the preseason was just about, well, there was virtually no difference. And there is the skyline of Tampa. And I'll tell you this, if you don't have your room reservations for a hotel for Super Bowl 18 by now, I think you can forget about it. It'll be right here at Tampa Stadium. It'll also be right here on CBS Sports. Super Bowl 18, about 20 weeks from now, after 16 grueling games, and then the playoffs. Bill Capice booms it into the end zone. The Lions, with that 5-0 lead, will start 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. But let's check a flag. It looks like a flag down at about the 38-yard line on the Lions side of the field.
Offside.
So if Tampa wants to take the penalty and make Capice kick it again, we'll do it again. Elsewhere around the NFL today, New England and Baltimore now tied up. Interesting game. The Colts led 3-0. Then the Patriots led 13-10. Now the Colts have come back just before the intermission. Frank Cush in his second year in Baltimore and Ron Meyer in his second year at New England. Pittsburgh and Denver. Welcome to the NFL, John Elway.
Number 20 kicking team. Penalty and re-kick.
And of course, Pittsburgh without Terry Bradshaw, Cliff Stout playing there. A lot of people say Pittsburgh will be back in the playoff hunt.
Well, Terry Bradshaw will be back in about 4 weeks. He's only got, what, 4 Super Bowl rings?
He's only got 4 and wants 1 for the thumb. Remember a few years ago they were talking about 1 for the thumb.
Based on the size of the one you're wearing, I guess Terry has to balance it out. He's got 2 on each hand.
2 on each hand. I don't know where he's going to put the other. Have it made into a necklace.
What does that little goblet weigh anyway? Capice will boom it out again. Alvin Hall fields at the 3. 15, 25. If he had a block, they had a wall set up on that right side. Neil Colsey, the 9-year veteran out of Ohio State, finally chopped him down. A 25-yard return, and the Lions, and that 5-0 lead will break 1st and 10 from their own 27-yard line. There's our score, despite the fact that the stats actually favor Tampa Bay. They outrushed Detroit. They had more time of possession, but the turnover, the safety, and the field goal.
It's been defense. Detroit's defense has put a lot of pressure on the quarterback and on Goldstein. And defensively, Tampa Bay has played well. Eric Hipple hasn't torn him apart. He had decent stats, 10 of 18 for 126 yards, but not overwhelming.
The lone setback, Jimmy Jones. James gets the call, looks for a block, doesn't get it, bowls his way up near the 27-yard line. And that time the blocking was pretty well chopped down. Greco and Keith Dorney over on the right side. Andy Hawkins made the hit. And that man number 30 right there, James Jones, the Detroit Lions #1 draft pick out of Florida, an excellent receiver, 68 catches in college. He is 6'2", 236. He can do it all.
Problem for Detroit in the first half was running the ball. When you look at statistics for James Jones, 3 of 7, 3 attempts for 7 yards, and Billy Sims carried 6 times for 7 yards. You know they're having problem running the ball.
Billy Sims has never fared well against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. 2 reps against Sims. He doesn't like the hard hit, and he can't hang on to the football. He's been known to cough it up even in college at Oklahoma. That is Leonard Thompson, who slithers forward up near the 39-yard line. And that man on your screen right there, Eric Hipple, the man that threw the ball. Mike Washington, the 8-year defensive back out of Alabama, came up to make the hit on that man, Leonard Thompson. Leonard, 9th year out of Oklahoma State, an 8th-round draft pick back in '75.
And he's a man that we saw before get hurt in the first half on special teams. He's back. He is tough and can go deep.
7 receptions, 149 yards, the longest for 39 yards and 1 touchdown during the preseason. And there is what he did last year for the Detroit Lions in the strike-marred season. Shotgun formation. Hipple looks at 3rd and 2. Blitz coming from the left side, and the inside handoff to Billy Sims. Convoys around the right side, crosses the 40. First down, Detroit. John Holt out of West Texas State chopped him down.
And that was Billy Sims slithering through, getting the first down on his own. It looked like the blitz was coming from the left side. Here he just hands off underneath to Billy Sims. Billy follows his blocking very well. That's number 61, Homer Elias, leading the way. Good block. Sims gets the rest and the first down on his own.
You look into the heart of the Detroit huddle right there, and there's what Billy Sims has done so far this afternoon. That last carry.
His longest of the afternoon, Jim.
Double tight end alignment now for the Lions. Norris and Rubik. Rubik in his second year out of Grand Valley State. Pitch back. Billy Sims up near the 45. Picks up 4 tough yards. Brings up 2nd and 6. Andy Hawkins in there defensively for Tampa Bay. Have to tell you about one player we saw the Lions working out yesterday at practice. James Jones, we said, can do it all. He can run, he can block, he can catch, he can also throw.
Haha, that's right. They have that up his sleeve. And fans who are watching in Florida here, and I know a lot are throughout the state, might remember James Jones, that great catch against Miami last year in the end zone, the controversial one that beat Miami 17-14 when he was at Florida. Just shows what kind of athletic ability he has, the ability to catch the ball. And he does that all the time in practice. Puts one hand up and pulls it in.
Leonard Thompson, the lone wide receiver, out to the right side, throws. That's the tight end, Rob Rubik. 6'2", 228, good receiver. Cedric Brown, the 7-year veteran out of Kent State, made the tackle.
Hipple did a good job getting this off because the defense is all over him. You see the blitz, number 58, Jeff Davis, coming up the middle. He gets off the block. Hipple keeps his composure and completes the pass to Rubik.
Pretty good battle going on right now between Billy Sims, the running back for the Lions, and Jeff Davis, the Tampa Bay linebacker. Davis getting his first start, 230-pounder, and he's controlling Billy Sims right now. From the shotgun, 3rd and 3. Leonard Thompson at the 49, but that'll be about a yard shy of first down yardage. Let's check where they spot it. Now they're saying it's about the 48.5-yard line, and Tampa Bay, you can see over on the near sideline. John McKay not at all happy with where they're spotting it. The chains are right there. So let's check that measurement. Cotney, the man that put pressure on the passer, Eric Hipple. John McKay. You know, he's in his 24th year as a head coach. If you add up all the years at USC and all the years at Tampa Bay, and the only other active coach that has tenure that long, Tom Landry, the only coach the Cowboys have ever had.
John McKay, the only coach Tampa Bay has ever had.
You know, in the 24 years that John McKay has been the head coach, either in college or in the pros, his team has won 11 conference or division championships, including 4 national championships at USC. Andre Tyler booms one, and he didn't get all of it there. Looked like it was going to take off, and it kind of stopped at the 22. Michael Black. So when we come back, it'll be Tampa Bay's ball. They've still got that 5-0 deficit and 10:40 left in the third quarter. We're back at Tampa Bay, and you're looking at the mustached Jerry Goldstein right there on the headphones. He is, there are the stats on his performance thus far in this football game. 14 of 21. Did not perform that badly. Had some drop balls and the receivers perhaps running the errant routes. Replaced by that man, his best friend on the squad, the throwing Samoan, Jack Thompson, who starts the second stanza now for head coach John McKay. Wide receivers left and right at the 23. They tighten up on the near side. One running back is in there now, James Wilder. Jack Thompson will throw on first down. The safety valve. Wilder pulls it down with one hand and maybe got back to the line of scrimmage, but a flag is down at the 15-yard line. Might be a holding call against Tampa Bay. It is. Now let's talk a little bit about this decision. We wondered openly yesterday of John McKay when he might make the decision. He said, well, you really have to have a feel for how things are going, he said, because the team might not be moving offensively, but it really might not be all the quarterback's fault.
Exactly right, and Jerry Goldstein actually played fairly well. He didn't have that inspirational moment where he'd pick up a team the way a Doug Williams might and take them all the way down for a score. So he said, well, it's the third quarter. We're down 5-0. We need a replacement. We need something different, Jack Thompson.
Holding, number 50, offense, repeat first down.
That's the 8-year veteran out of Georgia, Steve Wilson, the center, is back to you there, and his backside. I asked Jack Thompson the other day at practice how he would feel if indeed Jerry Goldstein, his best friend on the Buccaneers, got the hook and he had to go in and replace him. And he said he would empathize with Jerry and he would certainly feel sorry, but he would also have his mind so much on the Detroit Lions that it would not be that emotional a moment. He wouldn't have time to reflect on it. Right now they start from the slot formation to the right side. First and long, handoff, chopped down, way behind the line of scrimmage. The lone running back, James Wilder. English was in there along with William Gay, 79 and 78 defensively for the Detroit Lions. And right now that front four of the Lions, John, able to just tee off on Tampa Bay's offensive front.
They are dominating the offensive line from Tampa, and this is where a quarterback can change the whole complexion of a game with a big play, a big pass. He's got second and about 22 now. A difficult situation. Minnesota beating Cleveland by 3.
Cleveland coming back, though, because they were behind in that game big as we go around the NFL today. The Rams now handing it to the New York Giants. Lawrence Taylor and company. Quarterback controversy in New York. The Dolphins of Don Shula. 9-zip over Buffalo. Jack Thompson will go up top and big. Incomplete. He threw it 49 yards on the line. Kevin House, the intended receiver. Bobby Watkins back there on the coverage. Now, the last pass attempted by that man, Jack Thompson, was in Cincinnati. It was 19 degrees below zero. I remember it. I did the game on CBS radio. It was against the San Diego Chargers. That was the last time he attempted a pass in regular season. The AFC Championship, the Bengals and the Chargers, and he completed it. It was 14 yards to Pete Johnson.
And you figure it's about 90 degrees here, so there's a 120-degree difference in temperature. His last pass thrown to this one here.
Thompson also started the 1980 regular season with Cincinnati. You know who the opponent was?
I give up.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
3rd and 22. Miracle time. Incomplete, and what a hit at the 30-yard line. Kevin House almost decapitated. And he will be slow getting up. He had his bell rung by Demetrius Johnson, the rookie out of Missouri, who is really playing himself a game.
But even though Jack Thompson didn't complete a pass there, he went deep to Kevin House. That has to loosen up the Detroit defense. He's not afraid to throw the ball downfield. Jack Thompson told us himself, he says, I am a competitor. I want to win. Yes, I could have stayed in Cincinnati and collected my paycheck, but I wanted to contribute. I wanted to play. That's why he's here in Tampa Bay.
There's what Frank Garcia has done, kicking from the shadow of his own goalpost right now. Line of scrimmage, the 11-yard line, so the Lions' Robbie Martin, who awaits this Garcia kick, should have pretty good field position. He got a beauty of that. He chased Robbie Martin back 15 yards. Maybe to the 38-yard line. Mark Wood. Yes, the Bears coming back after trailing the Falcons 6-0. It is, of course, Dan Henning's debut with Atlanta. And the Cardinals now have fallen behind the New Orleans Saints. An O'Donohue field goal put them ahead 10-7 just before the end of the first half. But Kenny Stabler, what is he, 39 years old now, at the controls for the New Orleans Saints. Next week, many of you will see either the Cardinals playing host to the Dallas Cowboys or the Bears hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It all starts with the NFL today, right here on CBS. Brent Musburger and the cast back at NFL Control in New York. Slot formation to the left side. Eric Hipple will throw on 1st and 10 from his own 39, and he's got a streaking man down the right side. Thomas has got it. A great one-hand catch at the 26. Ulysses Norris, 5th year out of Georgia, and what a great catch that was with his left hand.
What a catch, and if he wasn't 6'4", he probably wouldn't have grabbed it because he just stuck his hand out, landed on his fingertips. This is a nice throw. Hipple throws it up and away so it can't be intercepted by the defense. Look at that catch. Puts his mid out and drags it back in. Take another look at this. Look at that stretch all the way out, pulls it in. Beautiful reception by Ulysses Norris.
35 yards and no stickum.
And no stickum. The new stickum rule, you can't use it.
Motion to the near side. 1st and 10, Detroit at the 26. Pitch back to Sims behind the blocking of James Jones inside the 25. Cracks it down to the 24. Scott Brantley made the tackle. You know, you talk about that secondary, John, of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after that 35-yard reception. The Bucs secondary has allowed 74 touchdown passes in the last 6 years. That's the fewest in the NFL. So you can get down, they'll bend a little bit, but they don't break.
Well, last year, you're right. They were 4th against the pass in a defense that was 3rd in the NFL. They are a good defensive team, but you get a sense that Hipple wants to open it up a little bit.
Sims now, 9 carries, 19 yards for the Detroit Lions. Motion from the wide receiver from the near side. That's Mark Nichols. Fake to Jones. Sims cracks over down to the 20, keeps on churning with the knees. Scott Brantley made the tackle. A That's the 10th carry for Billy Sims, and we already told you that Billy Sims has over 14 100-yard games in his 3 years in the National Football League. That man in his 4th year out of Oklahoma. But Billy Sims has never rushed for more than 76 yards against Tampa Bay. As you look at the 6-year head coach of the Detroit Lions, Monty Clark, former Cleveland Brown, former San Francisco 49er, and former Dallas Cowboy. John Elway, 1 out of 8 in that game, has been benched, but not because he was 1 out of 8. He's got a bruised elbow. Steve DeBerg has taken over and is now quarterbacking the Denver Broncos. We've got 7:49 left to go in this third quarter. The Lions' lead remains 5. Detroit is driving.
Next Sunday, the New York Giants face the Atlanta Falcons, and the Dallas Cowboys meet the St. Louis Cardinals, plus other regional action, all starting with the NFL today on the home of the Super Bowl, CBS Sports.
In his 4th year out of Florida, that man, number 52, Scott Brantley, has played some kind of a football game, had his bell rung. He has 11 solo tackles so far, and he's going off under his own power. Hopefully for Tampa Bay, he'll come back in. The Bucs on the road next week in Chicago. Dallas will be in St. Louis.
My pick for the Super Bowl, the Dallas Cowboys. I know what you're saying. They keep losing in the championship game. Not this year.
Way to go out on a limb. That's a bold pick. Hipple, right corner of the end zone. Too deep. Looking for Jeff Chadwick, the rookie out of Grand Valley State.
Too deep.
What would the winner book be in the Cowboys? 7-5, 2-1. That's a great selection.
Well, they've been getting knocked off in the championship game each year, so I'm saying this year they're going to go all the way.
Holding against the Detroit Lions will back him up.
And you get a sense from Eric Hipple that he wants to open the game up a little bit. He's sick of the nickel and dime. And yesterday when we talked to him, as you look at Pittsburgh over Denver now, 10-7, Hipple told us that the biggest thing he had is an adjustment with Ted Marchibroda coming in, and the controlled passing game was patience. He loves to go downtown and throw that bomb.
He said,
Holding, number 72, offense, repeat 3rd down.
Said one of the things that he's striving for, Eric Hipple, is that he wants to be a more consistent quarterback. He's always been known as a big play kind of a guy, and he is trying to try to discipline himself to take what the defense will give you. But actually, John, as you said, it fights his natural instinct. He likes to go downtown quick. From the shotgun, it's 3rd and 15. Slot to the left side. Hipple. Bucs are coming. Post pattern over the middle, incomplete. And there must have been some confusion there because the ball was thrown very deep looking for Jeff Chadwick. And we'll see Eddie Murray again. Now Murray has a field goal from 29 yards out. The line of scrimmage here will be the 31. If you look at a concerned John McKay right now, because if this field goal is good, it puts the Bucs beyond a touchdown. It's a 5-0 Detroit advantage right now. And as we watched Murray at practice the other day, he was hitting them consistently from 55, 60 yards out. He's got a cannon for a right foot. 11 of 12 in the field goal department last year. Perfect in preseason. And perfect here this afternoon. Out of the hold of Eric Hipple, Murray has rifled one through from 48 yards out, and the Detroit Lions continue to lead Tampa Bay. It's been a safety for Detroit. Then a 21-yard field goal, another from 48. Detroit leads now 8-0.
And what a match last year, McEnroe and Connors. I love to watch McEnroe. He's so fiery, flamboyant, a competitor. Anything's liable to happen with McEnroe playing.
Connors isn't exactly quiet and sedate.
Yeah, but he's matured a little bit and mellowed in his old age.
Bobbled by Michael Morton, who better cover that football. In the grasp of a host of Lions in the vicinity of the Tampa Bay 7-yard line. First to get down there, Danny Wagner, 2nd year out of Kansas. Watch him bobble the ball, see if it hits on the shoulder pads or hits him in the hands. Right on the top of the shoulder pad.
That is a lesson in a way not to catch a kickoff. Don't take it off your left shoulder pad, but if you do and you drop it, you better get it in a hurry because the crowd is coming.
Did you ever do that at Harvard?
Did I ever do that at Harvard? I never did it at Harvard, never in the National Football League. We defensive backs never make mistakes. Even old defensive backs.
The word on number 52, Scott Brantley, heat cramps, uncertain whether or not he'll return. Jack Thompson, the throw-in Samoan, remains the quarterback now out of Washington State. Not much doing there around the right side. Michael Morton in his 2nd year out of Nevada, Las Vegas, a 12th round pick in '82. Fantetti, the middle linebacker for the Lions, Very solid linebacker in the middle there. 5th year out of Wyoming.
And you sense John McKay is trying to make some kind of changes to make something happen. He puts Jack Thompson in for Goldstein. You see Michael Morton in there, the quick little scat back at 5'8" and 180. And McKay is saying, look, I got to shake up this offense. We haven't done anything. Morton last year only carried the ball 2 times for 3 yards. Here he is in the first game, in on a couple of plays, hoping to break something long, shake up the offense.
Wide receivers are split. They have the I pro set, and Thompson will throw. He gives it the pump fake, rifles. There's going to be a flag there, incomplete at the 23. And the crowd reaction, there come the flags a little late. Gerald Carter had turned it in. He simply ran down, gave a little step. The Detroit secondary took the fake, was late reacting. Bobby Watkins over the back of Gerald Carter.
There is a time in this game when you actually, as we listen to the referee,
number 27 defense, 1st and 10.
When you actually play the receiver too well. He had good position. He kept the cushion as we watch it from the end zone. Bobby Watkins, number 27, did. Carter turns, doesn't come back, and Watkins just gets there too early and can't do anything about it.
That's a big first down for Tampa Bay because they've been backed up at their own 7-yard line. Now they've got some room to breathe. It's now the 24. 1st and 10 Tampa. They're on the short end, 8-0. Little reverse inside, sealed off quickly by the Lions up near the 26. Michael Morton got the call. Kind of a scat back. He's only 5'8" and 180, so he's not going to overrun anybody. Mike Dawson, the 8-year veteran out of Arizona, 73 in there defensively for Detroit.
And with 6 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, as you look at Michael Morton going back to the huddle, you have to wonder if fans here in Florida and the ones in Detroit are wondering what it would be like if Doug Williams were playing quarterback. Doug Williams used to beat Detroit left and right, throw touchdowns on his back. He was the big play guy, has done so much. He was a franchise here in Tampa Bay. He's gone now. I wonder if John McKay wouldn't like to have him back at this moment.
You saw Michael Morton leave. He was a wrestler in high school. He also ran track. Lions are way offside. Free play for the Bucs, but Gordon McCarter blew the whistle. William Gay got the jump out of the starting gate quickly, and that'll cost the Lions 5 more. We've got 5:32 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Tampa Bay has yet to score a point after a perfect preseason. Tampa Bay rolled up wins against New Orleans, Houston, Atlanta, and the Patriots.
Defense.
Encroachment. That's an expensive word for offside. You know, in the 4 preseason wins for Tampa Bay, they scored 20 points in 3 of those games. Now, here we've played about 30, make it 40 minutes of football, and they have yet to even get a field goal.
79 defense, still 2nd down.
And Jim, against New England against New England last week, they scored 41 points and looked awesome. You know, it's interesting, Jim, the last time Tampa Bay was shut out was at Chicago in 1980 when the Bears beat them 23-0.
And the Bucs play the Bears next week. And many of you will see that game. All right, let's go around the NFL today and see what's going on as we check that scoreboard now. The Bears, who will play host to Tampa Bay, leading by 4. Vikings big against Cleveland. Green Bay, no contest against Houston. Ed Biles really has got some problems down there. Archie Manning, the quarterback, Earl Campbell, the fullback, but beyond that. And here come the New Orleans Saints. Started slow, trailed 7-0. But now have an 11-point lead at home with Kenny Stabler. 1st and 10 for Tampa Bay from the 35-yard line. Jack Thompson, look out. William Gay, 6 years out of USC. That's the 3rd sack. And he played tight end in college.
So quick, so big. I mean, those awesome defensive ends. You know, people talk about why you play the 4-3. The reason you play the 4-3 is if you have athletes that are big and fast and strong, like number 79, coming from the right side of your picture, running down Jack Thompson. Guys like that who can make the big play. Here he is again. Watch him beating. That's number 74, Gene Sanders. Can't handle him. Gay comes around. Thompson can't get away. The sack. It's been Detroit defense all afternoon. The major factor in this game has been the Detroit defense, and their line has been spectacular.
Out of Herbert Hoover High in San Diego. 79, William Gay. Thompson will throw for it on 2nd and 16, but he cannot. William Gay again. Helped out by number 73, Mike Dawson. They're booing Jack Thompson for not throwing the football, but they ought to get on that offensive line of the Bucs right now because the Detroit right side, watch the pressure from that right side.
That's George Yarno, number 68, trying to block Gay. Gay just says, get out of my way. I got to make another sack, and he does.
Originally drafted, that man, by the Denver Broncos as a tight end. The Raiders of Al Davis, the Bengals, finally get on the scoreboard, but they're still down by 14 points at home. Patriots clinging now to the 3-point lead. A John Smith field goal puts them back on top by 3. Franco Harris has rambled for a touchdown for the Steelers, and Pittsburgh leads John Elway and the Denver Broncos. Elway out to Berg in because of an injury. Swings it to the right sideline. That's Jimmy Wilder, who maybe got back to the 32 or the 33-yard line. They're only about 14 yards shy of first down yardage. Bruce McNorton came up.
This is a time when you have an offense that is sputtering. You're losing 8-0. You need big play players. Guys like Jimmy Giles, who is just back, not that effective after a holdout. Here, Wilder makes a nice play, but can't get enough yardage. Too much pursuit by the Detroit defense. But big play players like the Giles, like the Doug Williams, like the Kevin House have to come into action if Tampa Bay is going to come back in this game.
And you saw the pressure by 63, the defensive tackle out of UCLA, Martin Moss. You're looking now as if you're the punt return team of the Lions. Frank Garcia will kick it away to Robbie Martin. His last one was a 58-yard kick. Robbie Martin signals for the fair catch at the 25. So the Lions enjoy that 8-point lead. They've got the football. And right now, defensively, they've got the Tampa Bay number. A 45-yard kick. Hipple and company start from their own 25, and the Lions lead the Bucs by 8. The swashbucklers of Tampa Bay. Right now, trying to get the fans stirred up. Less than a sellout here at Tampa Bay Stadium. They went 4-0, the Bucs did, in preseason, and they have yet to put a point on the board in their season debut. They'll travel to Chicago next week. Meanwhile, the Lions will be playing host to the Cleveland Browns. Bootleg, Hipple, overthrows and intercepted by Tampa Bay. Cedric Brown out of Kent State, inside the 30, down at the 27-yard line. Hipple overthrew Norris, who was wide open at the 30-yard line, and Cedric Brown came up with the INT.
What a break for Tampa Bay. Hipple on the bootleg. Sometimes you can get a little too nifty and a little too cute. Here he tries the bootleg, just overthrows. Cedric Brown is standing right there. Makes the interceptions. He had 3 interceptions last season. This is his first this year, obviously, in the first game. Good position for Tampa Bay. Let's see if Jack Thompson can take it in now.
Those 3 interceptions in 9 games, so it breaks down to 1 for every 3 games. Michael Morton sweeps the right side or the left side, and you saw that flag go down. Fantetti in there on the pursuit. That's Cedric Brown's 6th interception in his last 4 games against the Detroit Lions. You know that his mother is a semi-pro bowler here in Tampa?
Talent in the family. He can make a living playing against Detroit. My goodness. His 6th interception in the last 4 games against Detroit. It's
We're
an
talking
amazing
about
stat.
Cedric Brown, number 34, the man that came up with that interception for Tampa Bay. His brother Richard plays football out in Iowa. And Cedric Brown was a quarterback in high school.
So many quarterbacks turn into defensive backs as we listen now.
Holding, number 82, offense, repeat first down.
That is Jerry Bell, the second-year tight end out of Arizona State, and that is a very costly penalty because they had it 1st and 10 at the 30, which was really their deepest penetration in this football game. Now it's 1st and 20 at the 40. Jim Leonard has now moved into the right tackle spot, replacing Kelly Thomas, the rookie out of USC. Leonard, a 4-year man out of Santa Clara, wears number 57. 1st and 20. Thompson. Pump fake, another flag is down, and so is Jack Thompson at the 47.
And guess who dragged him down?
William
You tell
Gay.
me.
Thompson can't believe it either. That right side is just collapsing as you look at the frustration there on number 72, Ray Snell. He's over on the left side, but they're having their problems too. Another holding call. Well, how many 1st and 30 plays do you have?
And Snell, I mean, Doug English talked about him yesterday, 4th man out of Wisconsin. A good offensive tackle, nifty, good footwork. He was a number 1 draft choice in 1980, so you know that the Bucs were high on him, having his problems.
Holding, number 62, offense, declined, 2nd down.
Number 62, Sean Farrell, another number 1 draft choice in 1982. He's having his problems there. 2nd-year man out of Penn State.
Speaking of Penn State, 44-6. I know you're a big Nittany Lion fan.
John McKay has to be wondering what's going on here. We played so well in preseason. I was high on my offensive line, yet we're getting run out of the stadium this afternoon.
2nd and 26. Pressure again underneath. And there's a great grab down at the 37-yard line by Gerald Carter out of Texas A&M. The ball was actually thrown behind him. He showed great concentration and great poise, too, by Jack Thompson, because William Gay, English were in on him. Lots of pressure once again.
And good arm strength by Jack Thompson. Good quick. Watch Gay coming to the right side of your screen here. Okay, that's number 68, George Yarno. Everybody's been trying to block him here. Watch Thompson now. He's in the grasp. And guess who that is? Number 78, Doug English, putting pressure up the middle. Still Thompson completes it.
Wide receivers left and right. 3rd and 17 for the throwing Samoan. Out of Washington State, Jack Thompson. He's got to go downtown, goes sideline right, overthrows the intended receiver, Theo Bell. Still wouldn't have been a first down, and we've got a flag in the backfield. There's a couple of 62s are mixing it up down there. Sean Farrell, the second-year man out of Penn State that Doc was talking about, and Curtis Green, the third-year defensive lineman out of Alabama State. And this one looks like it'll go against Detroit.
And the reaction of Jack Thompson, that's exactly the way it's going to go. And Thompson, I sensed on that play, threw the ball, was a little edgy, a little nervous, threw the ball too soon. He had good protection. But your memory as a quarterback, when you're getting all that pressure, is a short one. You remember all the sacks. And that time he had time to it too early, but got lucky with the penalty.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 62 defense, automatic first down.
You know, John, I'm a little surprised at the play calling of both the Bucs and the Detroit Lions when it comes to opening up the offense. Really, we've not seen either team go over the middle very consistently, running any kind of crossing or deep or post patterns. And when you've got the youth in the secondary that both the Bucs and the Detroit Lions have, you think they would test the secondary a little bit. Michael Morton sweeps the left side, cuts inside the 20 down to about the 17. Alvin Hall wrestles him out of bounds, the third-year right side safety out of Miami of Ohio. The cradle of coaches, they call it.
The cradle of coaches. You mentioned that. I think both offenses are having their problems. There's a lot of new faces on both offense. You look at the Tampa Bay, they have 4 new starters on offense. There's 3 new starters on defense. So they're finding their way, especially at quarterback, the key position in the NFL, quarterback.
2nd and 5. The importance of the drive to Tampa Bay obvious when they're behind 8-0. Pitch back, Michael Morton again did well to hang out of the football, and here comes another flag. Thrown from the back judge this time. William Gay not only can put pressure on the passer, he showed good lateral pursuit that time as he chased Michael Morton down from behind.
Interesting, Jim, that both teams, as we look at the referee, an illegal block of some sort, we'll find out who it's on in a moment. Both teams, Curtis Green, personal foul, gives Tampa Bay a chance with a first down for Detroit. Then a penalty here by Tampa Bay at a critical moment. Both teams having their problems. Penalties, a key part of this ball game.
This has certainly not been a pretty drive by Tampa Bay, but if they can come away with any points, it would be a successful one. You see the graphic there and what both teams have done in penalties.
Personal foul, illegal crackback block, number 89 offense, repeat, second down.
Kevin House, the culprit, so it's now 2nd down and 18 yards to go. They've got to get it down to about the 12-yard line. Line of scrimmage here is just outside the 30. Detroit deploys the nickel back defense. There'll be motion now. That is Kevin House. Thompson goes safety back. Another flag is down in the Bucs secondary.
And you know what it's going to be? Kevin House just went out there like a pick in a basketball game. He went out, just hit the defensive man to set up that little flare pass to Wilder. Let's see if that's what the call is.
It's got to be holding against Sean Farrell. William Gay was busting through there again.
Well, then they missed the one downfield on Kevin House, number 89, because he just screened the defensive man and actually made contact. That's illegal.
But certainly off of the Lions' performance, you would have to say that what English told us last night in the hotel, that they're not going to miss Bubba Baker a whole lot, has held true.
And there's certainly that defense, you're exactly right. That defense is held up, and they're playing with intensity. And I think that's what Monty Clark wants. He wants a team that will go on the field and give it 100% with no nonsense worrying about strikes and other things. I mean, they were split by the strike last year, and he's trying to recover from the wounds of that. It hurt Detroit more than most teams.
Well, you remember what Monty said just before he got on the bus the other day? He said, I wish that my team would simply go out and play like they practice.
Number 62 offense, repeat second down.
You were right, Jim. Sean Farrell out of Penn State, another holding call. NFL all-rookie team. He's getting some lessons from those defensive linemen today. Mike Dawson, Doug English, giving Sean Farrell a tough time. Exactly. That's what he's trying to do. He's got those first 7 draft choices making the team. He has a whole bunch of new faces. This is a Monty Clark team now.
Slot formation to the left side. Gerald Carter is in the slot. Theo Bell is outside. Kevin House to the other side. It's now 2nd and 28. Look out. They set up the screen. Carver tackled down inside the 30, but the man who really made the play for the Detroit Lions is number 54, Roosevelt Barnes, second year out of Purdue, a 10th round draft pick in '82, because he was the man that slowed Carver up down around the ankles back at the 37-yard line.
A good call. Get part of it back. Get 10 yards back with his hits, Carver. He gets part of it back, so now it's 3rd and about 20 yards.
When I give you the stats on 64, or 54, Roosevelt Barnes, 6'2" and 220. You know what else he played at Purdue? Basketball for 4 years.
You know he's a good athlete.
Motion by Carter. 3rd and 18. Thompson, look out. Almost great poise, but I believe they're going to say that the whistle blew as he was in the control and grasp of William Gay. But right there, Thompson looked a lot like Doug Williams.
He did, warding off tackles. Remember Doug English told us that was the biggest thing that Doug Williams did. Here, Thompson being dragged down. Control and grasp is the key. Exactly. Control and grasp. Don't hurt the quarterback. Still gets the ball off.
Outside of Bill Capi's field goal range, so we'll now see Frank Garcia, the rookie out of Arizona. There he is, who averaged about 43 yards a kick in the preseason. And if he gets all of this, there's what he's done so far this afternoon. Robbie Martin will probably watch it sail into the end zone. 8 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter. Garcia looks for the corner, and he got it. Inside the 5-yard line at about the 4. A great kick by Garcia with 2 ticks left to go. Now we've got a flag down at about the 33-yard line, so let's check the call. Illegal man downfield against Tampa Bay, and the Bucs will back up 5 more. Let's check in around the NFL today and see how things are going on our scoreboard. Everything going wrong for that man this afternoon. The Vikings, no contest against Cleveland. The Lions play host to the Browns next week. The Giants falling behind John Robinson, who's making his pro debut in Los Angeles, by 10. Bill Parcells, of course, the new head coach of the New York Giants.
And Scott Bruno, the quarterback, over Phil Simms there, as the Raiders lead Cincinnati 17-3. Cincinnati having terrible problems.
And all Detroit did was beat Cincinnati 34-7 a week ago. And Baltimore now has gone out in front over the Patriots. Frank Cush in his 2nd year there. It was 3-0 Colts. Then it was 13-3 in favor of New England. Then it was 13-all. Then it was 16-13 Patriots. And now the Colts lead New England by 4. Get the idea, whoever gets the ball last in that game as they are playing up at Foxborough. 2 seconds left to go. Watch Garcia the last time he put it out of bounds at about the 4.5. He'll go for the same corner again. And he missed it this time as it sails on into the end zone. So the Detroit Lions will lead 8-0 after 45 minutes of football. You look, the Bears come back against Atlanta. We've got an 8-0 game here. The Lions on top over Tampa Bay. That's the end of the 3rd quarter with a score: Detroit 8, Tampa Bay 0. Now a word from your local station.
Is sponsored by Miller High Life. Welcome to Miller Time. Valvoline. Valvoline is everything you need in a motor oil. And by Delta Faucet. When they're on, they're on. When they're off, they're off.
Welcome back to Tampa Stadium here in Tampa, Florida, where the Bucs, the home team, trailing the Detroit Lions by a score of 8-0. I'm Jim Kelly, former Harvard and New York Jet star John Dockery alongside Gary Danielson now, the new Detroit quarterback. Backs are split. Quick pass, got the wide receiver, Leonard Thompson. He's got the first down, breaks it at the 35, up to the 40, to the 45, across the 45, down to the 47-yard line. They pick up 27 yards. Danielson to Leonard Thompson. First down, Detroit. Cedric Brown on the tackle.
Danielson picking up where he left off last week in that great game against Cincinnati. 3 touchdowns. And as we look at that third quarter stats, Tampa Bay had the ball for 24 and almost 25 minutes. Still they're trailing here, Jim, 8-0.
And 4 more first downs than the Lions. But the Lions have the lead on the scoreboard, and that's what goes into the record book. 8-0.
They lead total yards 195 to 154, but it's really been some turnovers and inconsistency on offense that has plagued Tampa Bay. They've had some opportunity.
How about a good, solid Detroit defensive effort as well? Larry Lee is in there now, the left guard spot for the Lions. Danielson will throw again. This time he's got Mark Nichols. Nichols gets inside Tampa Bay territory down at about the 48-yard line. Johnny Holt out of West Texas State came up to tackle that man. Nichols helped out by Jeff Davis. That offensive line now for the Detroit Lions, Larry Lee, the left guard. Amos Fowler is the center. He's the 6-year veteran out of Southern Mississippi. Don Greco, the right guard. Keith Dorney out of Penn State, 5 years. Boy, he's a good one. Norris is the tight end, replacing the departed and disturbed David Hill. Kind of a disruptive influence for Detroit. Monty Clark, happy to see him. Bubba Baker and especially Stan White vacate the premises. Pitch back, Billy Sims slithers down to the 40. Leroy Selman, the first draft pick of Tampa Bay. And to emphasize again, in case any of the viewers joined us late, to pick up on some of those disruptive influences in Detroit, particularly Stan White, who was so active in the strike last year, the player rep of the Lions. Monty Clark said he was never, ever so happy to see a player leave as Stan White, and he said, you can quote me.
I'm much happier. Take a look at Leroy Selman, perennial All-Pro.
Sims now 11 carries, 29 yards. 12:50 and counting. Fourth quarter, Lions lead 8-0. Motion by the tight end. Billy Sims behind James Jones. Tries to get to the corner, down near the 37. Jeff Davis out of Clemson.
And you just saw Leroy Selman on your screen. Leroy Selman, Hugh Green, as you watch Billy Sims go back to the huddle, they've been playing a good game, holding up, as they've done for years here in Tampa Bay. But somewhere along the line, you have to get a lift for your offense. You can't be on the field all afternoon and be expected to perform. I mean, you just get tired of it. You say, what about the rest of this team? And that's been the feeling down here in Tampa Bay. With Doug Williams gone, that everyone would have to take their share of the responsibility, even more of their share of the responsibility, and not look to their quarterback for the big play to win games.
Second down and 8. Lions have that 8-0 lead. They've got the football. Danielson finds Billy Sims. Sims looks for a blocker. Gets down maybe to the 36-yard line, and another flag from across the way. John Cannon, second year out of William & Mary, came over there to chop down Billy Sims.
And it's interesting that Gary Danielson is in the game and Eric Hipple is out. I wonder if Monty Clark didn't yank Hipple because he threw that interception on the bootleg right to Cedric Brown, overthrowing his tight end. Danielson is in. He's picked up the pace, threw 2 passes right away to Leonard. They're working on John Holt, number 21.
Illegal formation, offense.
There is Eric Hipple, so you can see he does not apparently have an injury. Up and walking around, and there's his replacement, Gary Danielson. Veteran out of Purdue, a free agent, now in his 7th year. Atlanta, head coach Dan Henning's debut, back on top over the Bears. Chicago plays host to Tampa Bay next week. And New Orleans, up by 11 against St. Louis. They're in the fourth quarter at the Superdome.
And Jim, you know, as we look at Dallas at St. Louis next week, Tampa Bay will go to Chicago. Those games, some of you viewers will be seeing those
Illegal
games.
formation, one eligible receiver, covered another on the line of scrimmage. Penalty accepted, repeat second down.
So it'll be second down and 13.
You mentioned quarterbacks. Danielson in there now, Hipple, and Monty Clark was so definite yesterday when we talked to him that Eric Hipple was our quarterback. Now we see Gary Danielson in the game.
And word from the Lions sideline, there is nothing wrong with Eric Hipple. There's nothing wrong with that pass from Gary Danielson to Norris, the tight end. That was thrown on a string down to the 35-yard line. They'll still need about 4 or 5 yards for first down yardage. But Danielson comes in with a hot hand.
Nothing wrong with Ulysses Norris's catch, too. Remember, he made that great catch earlier, the one hand long down the field. Here, Danielson delivers it with authority. Look at those hands. Glue fingers, juggles it a little bit, makes the catch.
And you saw the good pass protection afforded Gary Danielson by that offensive front. Homer Elias is back in there now at the left guard. Amos Fowler, Don Greco. No pressure at all on Danielson, who looks at third and a long 4. From the shotgun now. Slot formation to the left side. Fires over the middle. First down, Detroit at the 28 of Tampa Bay, the rookie, Jeff Chadwick. Mark Cotney came up, but there's nothing you can do on that kind of a pattern. John, you know that so well, having played defensive back.
And you get a sense Danielson is in total control. He's reading well, drilled the ball to Chadwick, who was the leading receiver in preseason with 14 catches for 199 yards, a man that they stole, a free agent this year out of Grand Valley State. Gary Danielson, 4 of 5 for 49 yards, has control of the offense now as he calls a timeout. I guess he wants to check something with Monty Clark along the sidelines. A little confusion.
Sees something in that Tampa Bay defense that he didn't like, so the line of scrimmage is the 27-yard line of Tampa Bay. It'll be 1st and 10 Detroit when we come back. The Lions leading the Bucs by a score of 8-0. Tonight on CBS, it all starts with the award-winning 60 Minutes, followed by Alice, One Day at a Time, The Jeffersons, Beantown, a new situation comedy with Mariette Hartley and Bill Bixby, and Johnny Blue. It's all after football and U.S. Open tennis, which follows our game here on CBS Sports.
Gary Danielson now the quarterback, replacing Eric Hipple, and we talked about, quarterback situations, both sides of this. There's Jack Thompson, there's Goldstein on one side. Monty Clark wanting to get away from that 2 quarterback controversy, the Hipple to Danielson situation. And in the past around the league, when you've seen those 2 quarterback situations, I think you've seen problems. Remember Richard Todd and Matt Robinson back in the 70s, late 70s with the Jets, ripped that team apart with factions going for Robinson, with factions going for Todd. Same thing here. Some people wanting Danielson, some people wanting Hipple. Finally, Monty Clark told us, I've decided. John McKay, similar problem. Who do I start? Goldstein, who had a wonderful preseason, the last 2 preseasons, or the guy I gave up a #1 draft choice for to Cincinnati, Jack Thompson. Doug Williams is gone. I think those kinds of things, if you don't make a decision and go with one man, I think you'll have problems. Back in the early 70s, I remember Bradshaw, Terry Hanratty. I was on that team. Bradshaw coming into his own, yet Hanratty would run the team better. Caused a lot of problems before Bradshaw finally took over.
1st and 10 from the 27 for Gary Danielson. Motion by Nichols to the near side. Jones and Sims are the backs, and a whistle before the snap thrown from the back judge. So this one will come back, and we'll check the call from referee Gordon McCarter.
False start, number 67, offense.
So it'll be 1st and 15. That's Don Greco on that play. You know, you talk about Gary Danielson, kind of a relief pitcher for the Detroit Lions right now, having the starter's job wrested away. He worked in a sheet metal plant when the Lions signed him back in 1976 as a free agent. He, of course, had been a hometown favorite for our friends back in the Detroit area since he led Dearborn Divine Child High School to the 1968 Michigan State Championship. He also works as a sportscaster in Detroit, John.
And a little bit of trivia. We played together in the World Football League with the Charlotte Hornets way back in 1974.
I'm not sure Gary would want to remember that. Slot formation to the
Neither
right
do
side.
I.
You get paid for that game?
I'm still waiting for my paycheck.
Complete to the back. Mark Nichols fumbled after the tackle, but it was a loose football. He was not down. It's at the 27-yard line, so they lost about 3 on the fumble. Hugh Green, the man that made the tackle.
Gary Danielson here, ground level. Take a look at it. He's reading both sides, finds Nichols over the middle, drills the ball to him. Nichols coughs it up after he's hit, carrying the ball way out again. He had problems earlier. And watch number 72, Chris Dietrich, comes up with the ball.
You know what Danielson seems to be doing a much better job of doing than Hipple, and that's simply taking what Hipple said he was going to try to do, which is try to force himself to take what the Tampa Bay defense is giving him. And Gary Danielson seems to be able to be taking advantage of that so far.
Gary Danielson for a while was flirting, and I talked to him yesterday at the hotel, flirting with the other league. He wasn't that happy in Detroit, but finally they got things settled. He signed a new 3-year contract, and the man wants to play, wants to start, doesn't believe he's just a relief pitcher.
Thompson to the left side, Nichols to the top of your screen, James Jones, #1 draft pick, the I-back, and Billy Sims now in the tailback. Billy Sims looks for the corner, across the 20, slithers down to the 18. Washington in there defensively, and right now the Detroit Lion offensive line doing a pretty good job of handling Tampa Bay from end zone level now.
I sense Billy Sims is not in mid-season form. He didn't do much in the preseason, carried the ball very few times. He almost took the preseason off, switches the ball to his other hand so that inside arm is free to ward off tacklers, get some yardage, sets up a 3rd and short, Jim.
You saw number 30 putting his helmet down. That was James Jones. Look at the Oilers coming back against Green Bay. Green Bay was up big in that game. The Oilers at home trying to come back. Looks like 4 field goals for the Dolphins of Don Shula in Buffalo, having the same problems as Tampa Bay. They can't get on the scoreboard. 3rd and 2. Billy Sims, if he gets to the corner, can get into the end zone, but the Bucs ride him out of bounds back at the 21. Johnny Holt, that's good explosive speed for the West Texas State star. A 4th-round pick back in '81, helped out by Mark Cotney, but it was Holt who strung that play out.
It is so tough to get around the end in the NFL, especially with the speed of the defensive backs. All those guys who run under 10 seconds in a 100-yard dash, 4.4s, 4.5s. I mean, even Billy Sims, who does not have blazing speed, he's more of an off-tackle slashing type of runner. Tough to get outside.
Line of scrimmage, the 20-yard line of Tampa Bay. Eric Hipple will hold at the 28, tack on the 10 of the end zone. A 38-yard field goal try for Eddie Murray. Snap, spot, kick, hits the upright, and caroms on through. When things are going right, not much you can do. The Bucs can't believe it as they walk discouragingly off the field. It hit the upright and caromed on through. Take another look and watch it hit the upright to Eddie Murray's right, and then it just goes on through. Watch Murray's reaction.
It looks like it's going to go over the bar, but it doesn't. Hits about 1.5 feet down. There's the carom. Yes, it's good.
8-ball side pocket.
Is Murray happy? He'll take it. Perfect in preseason, perfect today. Gets a little break, and he's still perfect.
We've got 8:57 left to go in this football game. Detroit has 2 field goals and a safety, and right now they lead Tampa Bay 11-0. Welcome back to Tampa Stadium. Tampa Bay trailing by 11-0. 3 Eddie Murray field goals and 1 safety early in the first quarter, accounting for all the scoring in this football game. Eddie Murray will tee it from the 35, and you can forget about any return. Michael Morton, as he chases it down out of the end zone. He only kicked that one 65, 75 yards in the air. And the Bucs now looking at 1st and 10 from their own 20, but there's a flag down at the 13-yard line as tempers begin to flail away late in a football game. Certainly the frustration of Tampa Bay should be extremely evident. They go 4-0 in preseason, the only team in the NFL to do so. First time in their history they went 4-0. And in 3 of those wins, they scored 20 points or more. Here this afternoon against the Lions, who were 2-2 in the preseason, with victories over Kansas City and Cincinnati and losses to Philadelphia and Buffalo. They've been unable to score at all. You know, the last time that Tampa Bay was shut out in their season opener was 1976 against Houston. They lost in that game 20-0. And that year, I'm sure Buck fans remember, they went 0-14.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hitting, number 93 on the receiving team. 1st and 10 on the 10.
Mark Whitty, the rookie tight end out of North Texas State, 11th round draft pick this year. So it backs the Bucs up. It doesn't hurt them on the down marker, however. It's 1st and 10 from the 10. Slot to the left side for Jack Thompson. Looks for the tight end, throws it behind the tight end. Jerry Bell was open. Bell curled inside, the ball was thrown outside.
I don't care who you have at quarterback. If you can't get time to throw the ball, William Gay was on Jack Thompson before he even had a chance to set up. There was an in-tackle game with Dawson and English slanting in the middle. Gay came from the outside. There's no one on the Buck offensive line that can seem to handle Gay, and that gives Jack Thompson absolutely no time, no matter who the quarterback is. Sure, if you have a Doug Williams and he can ward off a defensive line in a scramble for the big play, maybe.
From behind the Tampa Bay offense, Jack Thompson has some time, dumps it off, got Carter. Carter's got a first down at the 25, stays on his feet to the 27. First down for the Buccaneers. Carter out of the backfield.
Carter limping off the field, but what pressure on Jack Thompson. He's in the end zone now. That's really edgy territory. There's already been a safety in this game. Goldstein was tackled back there. Here he knows he's in the end zone. He's jiggling around, starts to scramble, keeps his composure, and finds Carter, who then makes a great run after he catches the ball. Watch this. Watch Carter spin.
Line
right
of scrimmage, the 27. Slot formation to the right side. Quick release by Thompson. Tight end's got it. Loses the football. Lions cover at the 37. They had enough for the first down. Jerry Bell coughed up the football, and that man, there's nothing he can do. Roosevelt Barnes, 54. The man that fell on the football, Gary Cobb, 53, the man that forced the fumble for the Detroit Lions. So Detroit, who's got 3 field goals and a safety, everything's going right. For Tampa Bay, everything is going wrong. 7:59 when we come back. It'll be a big Buccaneer defensive series. They've got to keep the Lions off the scoreboard. Detroit leads on your side. Time remaining. The Lions lead still at 11. The Bucs unable to score. Another fumble. This one a very costly one because the tight end Jerry Bell had picked up enough yardage for their second consecutive first down. Next week, the St. Louis Cardinals will play host to the Dallas Cowboys, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road against the Chicago Bears. It all starts with the NFL today. 12:30 Eastern Time. Check your local listing. There, the veteran tight end Jimmy Giles for Tampa Bay in his 7th year out of Alcorn State. Not used at all since re-signing with the Buccaneers. Hipple dumps off to a wide-open Billy Sims, and Sims inside the 25. Excuse me, I said Hipple. It is, of course, Gary Sims. And another flag, I believe, down after the hit.
Hugh Green, number 53, on the ground. Of course, everybody on Detroit worried about their bread and butter man, Billy Sims. They don't want anyone taking a cheap shot at him. That's a frustration penalty. Here, Danielson stays cool, looks downfield, flips it out to Billy Sims, who is so dangerous when he gets the ball. Look at that move here. And Hugh Green coming in with his head. I think that's what the Detroit players were concerned about.
Green tried to strip Billy Sims of the football and did, but after the whistle had blown. Big defensive series for Tampa Bay. They've got to keep the Lions out of the end zone. Even if Detroit gets a field goal, it's a 14-0 advantage. James Jones in the grasp and control of one Dave Logan.
And you can bet Dave Logan's not going to be a man that's going to let down. Dave Logan, the man who comes in to lift weights after football game. Dave Logan, the man who's found around the Tampa Bay training camp all hours of the night working out. This man wants to play. Of course, maybe when you're a 12th round draft choice and you have to earn your way, you're a little hungrier. In his 5th year out of Pittsburgh.
One of the Bucs told us the other day Dave Logan came in at 4:30 in the morning and started lifting weights.
The man is serious about what he does.
Horace King is in there now for the Detroit Lions. Wide receivers are left and right from the 24 of Tampa Bay. Backs are split. Jones is out. King is in. Quick release by Danielson. Loose football, and it is covered, and it goes out of bounds. It's in the control of the Detroit Lions at the 15-yard line. Lady Luck is not smiling on Tampa Bay this afternoon. Leonard Thompson had the ball batted loose, and had the sideline not been there, there were enough Tampa Bay players around to recover that football.
An interesting sequence. The blitz was on. Danielson got a little bit of time, got rid of the ball to Leonard Thompson. John Holt, the cornerback, was playing too loose. When there's a blitz on, you have to have confidence it's going to get there. You got to be a little bit tighter. He wasn't. Finally, he came up, made a good hit, but the ball rolled out of bounds, so Tampa Bay couldn't recover it.
If the Bucs can limit the Detroit offense now to just a field goal, it would be a 14-point advantage, and mathematically they would still be in it with about 6 minutes to go. If, of course, Detroit gets a touchdown, you can turn out the lights. Horace King approaching the 12-yard line and approaching, more importantly, the end zone right now.
Let's take a look at David Logan. Okay, that's see, Logan, he's always around the ball, always fighting off tacklers. And as a nose guard, that's his job, to take 2 and 3 men on so the big guys like Cannon on the outside and Leroy Selman can get to the quarterback. Look at Green Bay and Houston, 62 points scored in that game.
The last 2 touchdowns, both by Earl Campbell. First, a 1-yard touchdown run, then from 11, they are tied up. And look what the Saints are doing to the Cardinals. St. Louis, of course, will host the Dallas Cowboys next week, and many of you will see that game. Now Danielson sees something in the Tampa Bay defense he doesn't like. Might be Hugh Green, might be Dave Logan.
Might be Leroy Selman.
So we've got 5.5 left to go in regulation. The Lions are driving for what could be the go-ahead touchdown to put this game out of reach. Their lead remains 11.
Playing in his backyard. But what about the women? Martina, Chrissy Everett-Lloyd, you have to like Martina the way she's been playing.
Well, I think if anybody is going to challenge Martina, it's got to be Chris Everett-Lloyd. And how about husband John Lloyd into the final 16?
A lot of tennis talent in that family.
You know, he said earlier in the week that a couple of years ago he considered giving up tennis, pro tennis, about 100 times a week. He was very, very frustrated. But now he's in the final 16 at the U.S. Open. That's next here on CBS. Slot to the left side. Danielson barking signals. James Jones bowls his way down to the 10. It'll bring up second down and a long 9. Jeff Davis out of Clemson in there on the tackle. We talked about the last time that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been shut out. For our Lion viewers watching on the Michigan Network and folks to the south down in Toledo, the last time that the Lions had a shutout was back in '81. It was a 16-0 whitewash against the Oakland Raiders.
And Jim, it's interesting, this series is deadlocked at 5-5. The Bucs have won the last 3, including a couple that have got them into the playoffs the last couple of years. 1981, it was at Pontiac, 20-17. 1982, 23-21, second to last game.
Slot formation to the right side. Danielson misfires, looking for the rookie free agent, Jeff Chadwick. And anytime the Lions go to the 3 wideouts, Chadwick is in there. They are very high on him. Thomas Morris, the second-year cornerback out of Michigan State, back there on defense.
Interesting third down situation. Yes, you would like to get a touchdown to put you up 18-zip, but you don't want to throw an interception or cause a problem. You have your field goal kicker who has been perfect. That would put you ahead 14-0. So Danielson here, I think he'll try to put it into the end zone, but be very careful where he throws it.
Eddie Murray, 29, 48, and 38 yards on the field goals. Sims now 14 carries for 37 yards. Gary Danielson 7 out of 9 for 78 yards. Monty Clark replacing Eric Hipple. There's motion all over the field. I don't see it now. Finally a flag is down. And so too is Gary Danielson in the grasp of one Leroy Selman. The flags were late to fly. There was motion all over the right side of that Detroit offensive unit. And it's got to be illegal procedure, I think, against the Detroit Lions. The Bucs, I'm sure, will decline the penalty, keep the down box moving, and force Murray into a field goal situation. Because from in close here, there's no difference if it's a 35-yard shelf. And we asked him yesterday in his office which one he's going to wear. So he had a lot of decisions under those helmets. Huh?
You know, a lot of people think that he just wears that for show. It really isn't. He says his hair is thinning, and the hot sun here in Tampa, Florida, can burn the top of that head.
Tampa Bay now 3 sacks for a minus 28 yards out of the hold of Eric Hipple. From the 26, Eddie Murray. And this one is wide to the right side. The last one hit the right upright. You can see Hipple and Murray going off and talking about it. So the Bucs mathematically are still in this football game. It's an 11-0 Detroit advantage. 4:40 to go. And if the throw-in Samoan Jack Thompson can get something going here, if Tampa Bay can get a touchdown, they'd be right back in it, trailing 11-7. Talking about the throw-in Samoan, there he is, Jack Thompson right now, number 14 out of Washington State. Came over here with a trade for the Cincinnati Bengals, and a lot of pressure on John McKay maybe to start Jack Thompson because of the high draft choice that he gave up.
In a way, you have to admire John McKay for starting Goldstein. I mean, he had a terrific preseason. He knows the system, and he did start him. He's been yanked for Jack Thompson.
Theo Bell, Kevin House, wide to the left side. Thompson goes safety valve, throws it down low, incomplete to James Wilder.
There comes a time in a ball game where your quarterback has to say, it is now time for me to take over, throw the ball upfield. I need those 15-yard turn-ins. I need those corner patterns for 25-yard passes. I'm down 11-zip. I need 2 touchdowns. We got 4.5 minutes left. Jack Thompson has to do that. He did it at Cincinnati one year. You remember that super year he had in 1980 when he completed for passes for 1,324 yards. So he has the capabilities.
Slot formation to the left side, 2nd and 10 from the 20 of Tampa Bay, trailing the Detroit Lions, 11-0. Thompson this time. Here come the Lions. Here comes English and Gay. Thompson scrambles, almost intercepted. Complete on the deflected pass. That is Theo Bell. Theo Bell at midfield. 1st and 10, Tampa Bay.
Sometimes you're better off being lucky than good. Ooh, my goodness. Is that a design play? Take a look at it from the end zone. Jack Thompson. There's pressure. He knows there's going to be pressure. What do you do to neutralize it? You scramble a little bit. Well, what he does, here's a quick hurry-up offense.
1st and 10 from the midfield stripe. Slot formation. Lions jumped off sides. Now they jump back. Thompson will audibilize. Looks to the sideline. Far sideline. Throws. Intercepted by Detroit at the 38-yard line. Al Latimer, free agent out of Clemson. 1st and 10, Detroit.
That was a timing play. Jack Thompson threw it where the receiver was supposed to be. The receiver did not make the break. The ball was thrown. Latimer, like a good defensive back has to do, was reading the quarterback. He ran the pattern, where a defensive back actually becomes the receiver. Great play by Latimer, keeping the receiver and the quarterback in view. Breaks on the ball, makes the interception. Look at that.
Well, he was throwing, as you saw, into double coverage, number 1. The ball was way behind the intended receiver, number 2. And number 3, when you've got the ball at midfield, why not take a timeout with 4 minutes left to go and give your team a chance to gain composure? That decision had to be made by that man, John McKay. You allowed Thompson into the hurry-up offense. Result, mistake, turnover, Detroit. 1st and 10 from their own 37. They lead 11-0, and they're on the verge of their first shutout since 1981 against the Oakland Raiders. James Jones, the rookie out of Florida, tackled by Hugh Green. Short pickup, but Detroit, of course, working on that clock.
You see the clock running down, but Jim, there's another side to that coin, okay? If you're a quarterback and you finally get a break and you get a little feeling of momentum and enthusiasm, you might want to keep it going. Get up to the line, try to get another play. As you look at Tampa Bay, they're disgusted. They felt coming in after that great preseason that they had a legitimate shot at going to the playoffs. On the other side, Detroit, unsure of whether they'd be good, fair, or terrible. This is an important victory in a division game as an opener.
Pitch back to Horace King. On the right side, not much doing, but again, Detroit content to keep it on the ground and eat up that clock. And those pictures that we showed you, the 2 sidelines, the pictures tell the story. Cedric Brown, Hugh Green in the tackle. Hey, how about that Green Bay-Houston game? It was wide open. Green Bay led by 3 touchdowns at one point. And all of a sudden, the Oilers are right back in it. Earl Campbell has carried over 25 times, 112 yards, and 3 touchdowns. On the other side of things, Lynn Dickey has thrown 5 touchdown passes, and the score is now Green Bay 38, Houston 31, and there's still 3:13 left to go in that football game.
That's only 69 points in a ball game. I'm sure John McKay wishes he had a little of it here. He has no points as the Lions lead 11-zip.
That last touchdown pass, Lynn Dickey to James Lofton, covered 75 yards, 38-31. Remember the game we did in Atlanta last year? Lofton cut the touchdown pass and went right on into the tunnel just before the end of the first half. Wouldn't come out.
And when you look at the NFC Central, Monty Clark obviously would like, he got in the playoffs last year with a 4-5 record, but he really backdoored it. And this year he feels he has a legitimate shot if his young team can get it together.
Next week here on CBS, the Cardinals and the Cowboys in St. Louis. St. Louis was losing to New Orleans at the Superdome. And the Bears, who have now fallen 20-17 to Atlanta, will host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bartkowski to Alfred Jenkins. It covered 21 yards in the 4th quarter. After the Bears had gone ahead 17-13, Atlanta wins their opening debut for new head coach Dan Henning. The Falcons 20, the Bears 17. How about this? Danielson will throw on 3rd and 5. And he's got Chadwick, and they've got a Detroit first down. How about that for a brave call by Monty Clark?
You have to like Monty Clark and Gary Danielson. If you're going to be a good team, you have to prove that you can do it under pressure situations. Rather than go into your shell, maybe give the Bucs a shot at coming back. What do? They get the first down by throwing. Look at the shotgun. I mean, I'm sure Danielson is thinking, okay, I'm not going to throw the ball in a dangerous situation. He throws it a little behind Chadwick and makes a good catch. Chadwick, much like Chris Collinsworth in appearance, 6'3", 175 pounds. Going to be a good wide receiver. They're excited about him.
Much in the mold of Dr. Dave Middleton back in the days of Bobby Lynn. James Jones across the 45, down near the 43. There's Eric Hipple. He signals in the play calls. Cedric Brown on the tackle. Final in from Buffalo. Von Schaman from 32, 22, 36, and 50 yards for Don Shula's Dolphins. 12-0 Miami over Buffalo. So the new head coach in Buffalo, Kay Stevenson, being shut out. As the veteran coach John McKay on the sideline here in Tampa Bay is on the verge of being shut out. It would be their first home shutout since '76 when the Oilers did it to them 20-0. That year, of course, they went 0-14. The last time the Bucs were shut out at all was 1980, 23-0 against the Bears, whom they play next week, and who many of you will see.
And of course, the Bucs have won their last 3 games. Detroit, obviously smarting over the last 2 years when the Tampa Bay Bucs used it to get into the playoffs. As we look at the scores here, Atlanta 20-17, the final you just mentioned. Dan Henning wins his debut as a head coach in the NFL. Minnesota 27-21, 4th quarter. Cleveland coming back in that one.
And of course, that's a very interesting score as far as the Lions and their fans are concerned, because Cleveland will be at Detroit next week. Green Bay, by virtue of that 75-yard touchdown toss, Lynn Dickey, his 5th of the day to Jimmy Lofton, put them up. New Orleans still on top over St. Louis. The Cardinals host the Cowboys, and some of you will see that game. Motion to the left side, 2nd and 6. Inside handoff, James Jones. That offensive line of the Lions now simply wearing them down. Around the NFL, we told you the 4 Von Schaman field goals. Don Shula's Dolphins get a fast start in the AFC East. Elsewhere around the NFL today, the Raiders are on top now. In that game, that's a final. Kenny Anderson to M.L. Harris in the 4th quarter with a minute to go to put that one out of reach. 20-10 for the Raiders of Al Davis.
And to be truthful, Jim, I'm a little bit surprised by this game. I thought that Tampa Bay would come out steaming after their preseason. I also thought Detroit would be unable to block 3 players on the Tampa Bay defense, and that would be Logan, Selman, and Green.
We're at the 2-minute warning right now. The Lions on top over Tampa Bay by that 11-0 score. Detroit on the verge of shutting out Tampa 11-0.
Guys.
Jim Kelly and that old Crimson from Harvard, John Dockery, member of the 1969 New York Jets Super Bowl team, played with Joe Namath. Where's that nugget on the left hand? 11-0, the Lions lead Tampa Bay. Welcome back to Tampa Stadium. They will host Super Bowl 18 here, and you'll see it on CBS Sports. James Jones bowls his way across the 30, flag on the play, and we will have to check the call. Referee Gordon McCarter has had almost as much airtime today as you, partner.
I'll have to put him on the payroll. That's right, the Super Bowl here in Tampa, and we talked to the Bucs about that. January 22, 1984, right here on CBS. Bucs thought maybe, that would be a little extra momentum. Let's look at Abe Gibron.
Former head coach of the Chicago Bears, Abe Gibron, right there. What a nice man. Hate to line up against him, though, huh?
Illegal motion, number 67, offense, repeat, first down.
Well, I think both that man, John McKay, and Monty Clark will have a lot of reviewing to do during the week. Obviously, McKay has got to review his quarterback situation, and I would suspect Monty Clark as well, because Hipple was erratic, though not bad, but Gary Danielson certainly is taking control here late in the second half. So they've got some decisions to make before the Bears play host to Tampa Bay and the Lions play host to Cleveland. James Jones, the rookie. Let's check the stats. Ray Mull, our statistician here, on James Jones, the rookie, the #1 draft pick of the Detroit Lions. And John, maybe you can pick up again on the theme we started at the top of the telecast, how excited Monty is over the fact that Detroit's first 7 draft choices have all made this football team.
Exactly right, and especially on James Jones. We touched on it a little bit, but he's also high on the #2 draft choice, Rich Stringer out of Michigan State, a rookie. A lot of good players coming in. He believes they're going to help it, especially attitude-wise, which has been a problem in Detroit for the last few years. And James Jones, 10 carries for 20 yards, receptions 3 for 49. That will get better as the year goes on, because he and Billy Sims are going to get used to one another.
2nd and 15 for the Lions. The Bucs trying to force some kind of a turnover here as James Jones simply bowls his way across the 40-yard line, tackled by Brad White. The NFL on CBS. The executive producer is Terry O'Neill. Senior producer Charles H. Milton III. Today's game produced by Bob Deacon. Congratulations, Bobby. He made his debut, directed by John McDonough, the seasoned and aging veteran. And the rest of the folks who bring you the sights and sounds of NFL football and do it so well here on CBS Sports. U.S. Open tennis coming up right after. And I guess what are they doing? They have a helicopter standing by to get Mr. Summerall from the Rams-Giant game over to Flushing Meadows so he can do the tennis also. Inside handoff to Horace King, who will stay in bounds down at the 40-yard line. This one's 15 seconds from going into the record book. The Lions' first shutout since 1981 when they blanked Oakland 16-0, and the first shutout against Tampa Bay since the Bears did it in 1980, 23-0. Is that a final? Larry Moriarty has just run in for the Houston Oilers, and they are tied 38-all. They have had some kind of a game. Dickey has 5 touchdown tosses in that one. Earl Campbell has over 115 yards and 1, 2, 3 scores, and they are now tied 38-all. At the Astros, Bart Starr's hair must be falling out again. Brian Sipe to Willis Adams, and now Cleveland coming back against Minnesota, but not enough. 27-21, that's a final. The Vikings over Cleveland, and of course, the Browns will be in Detroit next week. So the Vikings, despite having to go over to London for their preseason game, got their act together. Monty Clark accepting congratulations over on the sideline.
And remember, this is in the division, so it's really a big win for Monty. Tampa Bay has been a thorn in his side for the last few years. Tampa Bay, of course, getting off to a bad start. They were in the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years.
Lions looking to punt the football away. Do you think they'll really punt it on 4th and 12? Andre Tyler is deep. Michael Black will do the kicking. And apparently so. Bucks are coming. High kick. Tyler will watch sail into the end zone. So we've got 9 seconds left to go. How hot is it?
So hot. So hot that Mr. Mark Cotney has to put ice on his hand. Actually, he probably has a bruise there, but it is a hot day, 90 degrees. I thought it might have some effect. I thought it might give some edge to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hasn't done a thing because Monty Clark's Detroit Lions appear to be ready.
Final in from the Meadowlands now. Bill Parcells has lost in his pro debut, and John Robinson has won. Vince Ferragamo, a couple of touchdown tosses to Mike Barber of 8 and 42 yards. And the final in, the Rams 16, the Giants 6. Maybe time for 2 more Tampa Bay plays. Thompson still in there at quarterback. Swings the screen out in the right flat. Little convoy there for Wilder. Wilder up to the 35 and down at the 37, and that will do it. This one's into the record books for that man, Monty Clark, who starts his 6th season in Detroit with a 11-0 win against John McKay, who will go out from the near sideline and congratulate Monty Clark. 11-0, 3 field goals by Eddie Murray from 29, 48, and 38 yards after the Lions got a safety early in that first quarter. Final score, the Detroit Lions 11, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 0. We'll be back after these messages.